Good evening. This is the first regular city council meeting of the year. Today is January 21st. The time is 6:10 p.m. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Doug,
Here.
Chairperson Shirley Lanier,
Here.
Chairperson Miller Anderson, Councilperson Bruce Guyton,
Here.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Here.
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Here.
City Manager Jonathan Evans,
Present.
City Clerk Deborah Hall is present, City Attorney Don Nguyen.
Here.
Madam Chair, Chair Pro Tem Miller Anderson did provide notice that she will be appearing at the meeting by audio. You have a quorum, you may proceed.
I'd like to have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Davis Panier. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. From staff, from the board, do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
My first addition would be the Turnberry project.
You want to add that?
Yes, I want to add that on the action item. We're not voting on the project because it hasn't been noticed, but if we want to revisit it, it has to be done with the motion.
Okay.
And the other one that I would like to add, civil rights. That's it, Madam Chair.
Is that under discussion?
No, yes, that's under discussion. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair?
Hold on one second, sir. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that the Turnberry project obviously is being only for discussion tonight, not being voted on. And I really think that if we were going to discuss it, we should have put it on the council agenda for discussion because there would have been hundreds of people here. Thank you.
Thank you for that motion, or that item to be placed on the agenda. Can I get a motion to do that?
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
No.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes. Yes.
That item passes, it passes with Councilperson Dr. Spiritus dissenting.
Item under (11H).
Item 11H.
H.
H, like in hotel.
Are there any deletions or substitutions for this agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
staff is requesting that item 11G be moved to the next regular meeting of the City Council. That is Resolution 1-26.
Okay. Are there any objections to moving this to the next agenda? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please move 11G to the February meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other additions, deletions, or substitutions? Are there any disclosures from the staff or from the board in regards to any of these items that are listed on this agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier?
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Our next item is our consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine, and action will be taken by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a councilperson so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Anyone want to pull anything from this consent agenda? Hearing none, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier?
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus?
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier?
Yes.
That is a unanimous vote.
Our next section, awards and presentations.
Madam Chair, we are on item 6A, under awards and presentations, which is BusLink Pilot Program Update.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I can have the assistant to the city manager, Dr. Hayes, to introduce our speakers and to reintroduce the BusLink program here in the city of Riviera Beach.
Good evening, Chair, Council, Mayors, City Manager, and everyone in their respective places. I am Dr. LaShonda Hayes, the Assistant to the City Manager. This evening, I would like to welcome Ms. Ira Brewster, PalmTrans Director of Planning, to present an update on the BusLink pilot program, which was launched in September of 2024. BusLink is an innovative solution which replaced low ridership fixed routes with flexible on-demand services. At this time, I ask that council would receive this presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hayes. Good evening, Council, City Manager, Mayor Lawson. My name is Ira Brewster. I'm the Director of Transit Planning at PalmTran. And as Ms. Hayes so eloquently put, I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys an update about the BusLink pilot program. So as she mentioned before, this started just around a year ago. We piloted 3 different zones, beginning with Royal Palm Beach, the East Central Zone, which encompasses Riviera Beach, and I'll get into that a little later, and the Boca Raton Zone. So the program parameters were initially, you get an $8 voucher towards your trip and up to 4 rides per day. The service operated between Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on Saturday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So as you can see, the service, the people loved it, right? We completed just shy of 200,000 trips. We had over 5,000 unique riders. Median fare was about $7.56, so that $8 voucher was just enough to cover everyone's trip, with a median trip duration of around 6 minutes and trips lasting just under 2 miles. As you can see, that East Central Zone encompassed basically almost 90% of those trips. So let's get into some of the details. That East Central Zone consists of multiple municipalities. I see that it's a little grayed out right here, but it encompasses Lake Park, Palm Beach Gardens, the city of Riviera Beach, and West Palm Beach. That 48.3% is the city of Riviera Beach. So we noticed that, you know, a lot of the ridership and the traction from the service was actually happening in this area. So it has some annual cost on what the service ran us for the first year and those unique riders. So as you can see, over 4,000 compared to hundreds in the other zones. So we were tasked by our board to, of course, continue the service, but let's, you know, apply some mitigation to, of course, make it more efficient and fair for everyone. So we are implementing some program changes effective February 1st. So this zone was very large, as we talked about before, and it encompassed multiple municipalities. So we're going to modify these zones to focus on areas with reduced fixed route coverage. And we're going to split that zone into 3 separate zones, and we're reducing the number of trips from 4 to 2, and also reducing that voucher from $8 to $5. Now keep in mind the median cost for trip is just about $6.95. So customers will still be paying what's, you know, remnant to a fixed route fare of $2. And basically with the existing completed BusLink zone trips, 86.6% occur in an area with existing fixed route service. That means we want people to utilize the service as a real first and last mile connection so they can use that voucher, get to where they need to go, and complete their trip with the fixed route service. And also, that little pie chart at the bottom shows you 55.3% of the trips occurred in that mid-east central zone. That's around the Blue Heron area, so most of those trips are happening in the heart of Riviera. And I am open to any and all questions, and thank you for the opportunity to present tonight.
Questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the presentation, the effort, and the support for mobility. What was the reason for the reduction of the voucher amount from $8 to $5?
It was really just aimed at cost mitigation. This was a pilot program that was budgeted to operate, under a certain threshold, and it did exceed that. So our direction from the Board of County Commissioners was continue the service, but make it more efficient. So this is one of our aims at efficiency.
And how are you marketing or advertising the actual program?
So anyone who has the Uber app, the voucher comes up as long as they are in one of those geofenced zones. We also have a PalmTran mailing list, so we're sending out information as we speak. Our website is updated. Customers are getting notice that the voucher is going to change and they're going to have to download the new voucher with the new guidelines. Also, when we kicked off the service, when we got rid of that Route 21, we also labeled each bus stop, so customers were given a QR code letting them know all of the information about the new parameters and that their route was going away. So we had a really, boots on the ground approach. We utilized social media, utilized mailers to get that word out.
I think the mailers is a better approach, especially for some of my seniors in the community, and possibly working with our communications department to advertise on Channel 18 so that the residents can see actually the voucher that's available. A lot of them, if they don't use Uber, they wouldn't know that the voucher is going to be on there. So unless it's actually sent directly to the residents, my seniors in the community, I'd like to really see if we can do the mailers, do a follow-up with that, and also work with our staff as well.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you for the program. That is amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Madam Chair? Yes, go ahead. What were some of the challenges of the program that needed to be improved upon for this next?
I think the biggest challenge was utilizing the program as it was intended, right? So in the area of Riviera Beach and surrounding areas, you have a lot of fixed route going on. We have the Route 1 along US 1, we have the 31, the 3, the 33, the 20. So there's a lot of routes for you guys to use. So the service was designed to, hey, let's hop on the 31, but I need to go here. The bus can't get me here, let me complete my trip. I'm gonna get off the bus, gonna call this Uber, and then I can, get to my first and last mile, that connection. But I think the biggest challenge was people were not using it as designed. So we actually noticed, and I have staff here with, we pulled up some numbers. People who took the Route 21, which is the route that was eliminated, we got more ridership from Uber than were actually riding the bus. So that let us know that, hey, okay, what if we can get these people, all of these, over 60,000 people who took BusLink, what if we can get them on the bus? And that's the true intention of the program, and I think that was probably the biggest challenge for us. So these mitigations, by modifying these zones, that's gonna move people to the fixed route system. And we'll be monitoring it over the next 6 months to bring our findings back toward the Board of County Commissioners so we can get some additional guidance. And by all means, if we make any changes, we'll be sure to, get in contact with the city. Shameless plug, we got Mr. Guyton here, who is also a member of the PalmTran team. So we will definitely, make our way out here and share the information with you guys.
What is Route 21?
Excuse me?
What is Route 21?
Route 21 was the route that, as Ms. Hayes mentioned before, we eliminated certain fixed routes to plug in the BusLink service. So Route 21 was the route that we eliminated to plug in BusLink.
I know that, but what was the route? Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm not the map genius, but I have the map genius here. Mr. Christopher Walker, if you could come up and give the exact route alignment.
Hey, good evening. Chris Walker, Interim Service Planning and Scheduling Manager. So the Route 21 was kind of a circuitous route that ran from the Gardens Mall to the Mangonia Park Tri-Rail Station, and it went down Prosperity Farms, cut across Northlake, went down US 1, then cut down Park Avenue, went down like Avenue HE, so it kind of went in and out of various communities. The Route 33, when we implemented the BusLink program, The Route 33 was modified at that same time to kind of hit the big destinations that the Route 21 previously served. So St. Mary's Hospital is now covered by the Route 33. Azura Estates is covered by the Route 33. And then Park Avenue is also covered by the Route 33.
Yeah, so a lot of thought went into it. We didn't just remove it and say, hey, get on an Uber. We removed it, you know, realigned one route to cover the service, and in addition, added the Uber. So a lot of coverage in this area. And of course, you know, we want to make sure that the service, you know, works for everyone. So these changes, taking the voucher down to 8 to 5, that's program-wide. It's not just, you know, geared toward one municipality or one zone.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Full disclosure too, that is my boss, that is Mike. What is, I think it would be helpful to explain the space and trips. You said we reduced the trips from 4 to 2. Could you elaborate on how that works? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. So originally 4 trips, right? So we're giving you an $8 voucher 4 times, meaning you can take that trip, you can get on one in the morning, you take one in the afternoon, you take one in the evening, limiting 4 trips. And we were giving you $8 each time to complete that trip, right? It wasn't just $8 for all 4 vouchers. It was $8 each time. So
in a
now-
day, so in a day.
In a day's period, correct, from that 6 to 9 p.m. threshold. So that's, you know, if someone's taking 4 trips, that's $32. And, you know, as long as they're not exceeding that $8 trip limit, you know, we're running that cost. So, you know, taking it down to $5, their trip, they'll still be able to take multiple trips, but we're limiting it to 2. And instead of them having $8 each trip, they will have $5 per trip.
Okay, thank you
That's all I have.
for your presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good job, good job.
We go to our next item.
Madam Chair, the next item under awards and presentations is item 6B, December and January Emerging Leaders.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is a presentation by Councilperson Priscilla Davis Pinier.
Good evening. Would Ms. Christina Reed and Lutalo and Nubia Reed please come forward? I'm going to tell you about 2 young people who are phenomenal. Today I'm honored to recognize our December and January emerging leaders, Lutalo Reed and Nubia Reed. 2 remarkable young leaders who are using their voices, their talents, and creativity to uplift our community and promote inclusion. Lutalo and Nubia were selected because of their leadership, their resilience, and commitment to autism, awareness, and acceptance throughout Riviera Beach and Palm Beach County. As siblings, they worked together to turn personal experiences into powerful advocacy that inspires understanding, kindness, and compassion. Lutalo was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3 and did not speak in full conversational sentences until he was 5 years old. What could have been a limitation became a platform for inspiration. Alongside his sister, Nubia, Lutalo uses music as his voice to spread messages of inclusion, friendship, diversity, and anti-bullying. One of their most recent and proudest accomplishments was performing their original song, the Autistic Genius Song, at the Kravitz Center in West Palm Beach during the Best Buddies Champion of the Year Gala in 2024. This event celebrates advocacy and leadership among individuals with disabilities, and Lutalo and Nubia truly represented our community with excellence. Beyond performances, they continue their advocacy through social media, connecting with a broader audience, and encouraging acceptance and awareness online. They also actively participate in community programs right here in our beautiful city of Riviera Beach. The Learn to Swim classes through our Riviera Beach Parks and Recreation for the past 4 years, the Inner City Youth Golfers Program, soccer, and even a little Pokemon hunting around the city. Lutalo and Nubia exemplify resilience, creativity, determination, kindness, and leadership. Together, they show how creativity can break barriers, turning challenges into strength and bringing people together. They remind us that leadership comes in many forms, and sometimes it comes with music, courage, and heart, and sometimes it comes in small sizes. Lutalo and Nubia exemplify everything that Riviera Beach needs. Please join me in congratulating Lutalo Reed and Nubia Reed, our December and January emerging leaders, for helping to create a more inclusive and compassionate community. You can also watch Lutalo and Nubia's YouTube video to see their message, their music, and advocacy in action. Just search The Autistic Genius Song on YouTube. We are so proud of you all, and we thank you so much for your hard work in promoting advocacy for autism. Thank you so much, and thank you. Thank you to the parents. You wanted to say a quick thing? Okay, come on.
I just want to say to y'all, thank you. Thank you for this award, and remember to be kind.
That's right. He said, thank you and remember to be kind.
Thank you, Councilperson Davis Bernier, for that presentation with these young people. I didn't know they went that young. That's very nice. Next item, please.
Madam Chair, we are on item 60 under awards and presentations. 5th Annual MLK 5K and Divine 9 5K Challenge and sponsorship request.
Hello, Council. How's it going?
Hello.
Kenyon Link here with the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County. Here requesting continued partnership with the City of Riviera Beach for the 5th Annual MLK Challenge that's taking place on Saturday, January 24th here in the City of Riviera Beach. This event is an annual event that continues to honor the legacy of honor the legacy of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King while promoting wellness and community engagement. This event is expected to attract approximately 500 participants, while proceeds that come in supports local businesses within the county, as well as within the city of people who are part of the chamber. The city has in the past supported this event, successful event. It brought a lot of attention to the City of Riviera Beach, and we want to continue that as best and much as possible. What we're requesting is the use of the Dan Calloway Recreational Center, as well as city closures, police presence, security for traffic control, as well as fire rescue support.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So can you tell me, I think the Black Chamber of Commerce is a great organization to have. I was very active with the 100 Black Men organization up in the Northeast, which is very similar to the Chamber of Commerce. And I've spent most of my life mentoring and counseling minority businesses. But my question here is, you're asking the city to give up approximately $8,000 to $10,000 to support this event. Can you tell me specifically what your organization, how many members are from Riviera Beach, and what you do for the city of Riviera Beach specifically?
I can't give you the exact numbers. I apologize for that. But we do have a good number of members who are residents of Riviera Beach, as well as have businesses within Riviera Beach. What we do is we support them through any advocacy, training, or supports to strengthen their business to make sure they're sustainable.
But you don't have any idea of how many of those people live in the city?
I do. No.
Is it 20, 30?
I'm sure it's more than 20 or 30.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I could just follow up. I'm not sure about the membership, but I know that some of the partners that are also involved with this, there are a lot of residents in Riviera Beach, business owners, and taxpayers that are a part of the Divine Nine. I can just vouch for that. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know the exact numbers of the businesses, but there will be a lot of Riviera Beach participation in this event.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you for bringing this event to the community. We attracted this event about 6 years ago to come to Riviera Beach, so we're thankful for it, and we're honored to have it here. I'm a little disappointed, though, that it's coming before us at this time. So, Mr. Evans, when did this application get submitted to the city?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
The request for assistance came in October. I want to say middle of October.
Okay. I think that 3 days before the event is just not fair to this organization because you have one readiness from my colleagues and for them to be put in this position. I would want to see these applications, if we're getting them, a little bit sooner, as early as possible so the board can opine on them. But essentially, with this chamber, this is something that we've been doing for years. I know with the process and trying to make sure we have a stable, consistent process, we want to make sure it's in front of the board, approved by the board, but I wholeheartedly support this chamber because we attracted this. We work with them, I believe. Ms. Franks actually was one of the first ones to work with this organization when they first came 5 years ago. But the process that we have, we want to really discuss that. And I was hopeful that we could have the special events discussion on the agenda for tonight, but since we didn't have it tonight, we're just making sure that this gets approved. And board, I really would like for us to support this because the chamber has been a staple. They have multiple organizations. They don't have these numbers because this is 4 days before their event. So I'm hopeful that we can support this board.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I just say one more thing? Because not only, because I don't want to necessarily promote Divine Nine, but a lot of these organizations work with our youth. All of us, I know our program has a youth program that has many residents that are in our youth empowerment program, also parts of like the 20 Pearls, the Precious Pearls. So these programs that are involved with this actually do touch a lot of our residents, especially our young people. So I just wanted to make sure that that was, made clear to the public that this is an event that supports organizations that support us.
Okay. Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
And motion on the floor after my comments, but you may have some comments. Mr. Evans, you said that the application came in October. Why did it take so long to get on the agenda?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
With some of the backlog of agenda items we do have and putting items on the agenda, and then we didn't have any meetings from December until January 21st. And so that's why this item didn't come back before you all sooner. But to that point, Councilperson, and to the Mayor's point, at your next meeting in February, we're bringing some items that look to address and make the policy a little bit more nimble so we can help facilitate some small events, because this is, in the grand scheme of things, it's a road race. And so there's not many complications associated with this. So we are bringing some revisions, and we want to have that discussion with the board to modify the policy at your next meeting. But that's why the delay, Councilperson.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
And just quick follow-up, I believe we approved the road closure back in December, either September, we approved the road closure months ago. So we've already done the road closure because special events brought this to the board. But because there's a financial impact that has to be brought before the board, I believe if we had the special events discussion a little bit more robust, we can kind of address some of these concerns so it's not bringing down or being tedious with this process, and special events and staff can kind of handle these things. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm ready to make a motion to support the activity as requested with the resources requested.
Second.
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item.
Madam Chair, we are on item 8, ordinances on second and final reading. Item 8A, ordinance number 4303, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving a zoning amendment from single-family to downtown core submitted by Bush, Canvas, and Interiors, Inc. for the purpose of constructing additional parking spaces and expanding operations at 2428 Broadway in the City of Riviera Beach, identified by property control number 564342280000020, providing for an effective date and for other purposes. Madam Chair, we have one comment card on this item. The acceptance of cards is closed.
So move.
Second. Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I could have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Clarence Sermons, to make this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of council, Honorable Mayor, and Madam Attorney. As read into the record, the item before you is an ordinance on second reading related to the rezoning of the Bush Canvas newly acquired property behind their existing business. Since first reading, there has been no changes to this item, and staff still recommends approval of the item. If the council would like more information or full presentation, staff is prepared to do so, and of course, here for any questions.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Sermons, why are we doing this again tonight? This is the third time, right?
No, this is,
Is this the
through
second
the
reading
chair.
or the third reading?
This is the second reading.
The second reading,
Yes.
okay.
Any questions
we did
regards
some-
to this second reading? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, we have one public comment card.
That's right. Sorry about that.
Mr. Chadwick McCoy.
Good evening. Thank you for remembering that I put in a comment card. I want to start by saying I do support the item, but I will point to your attention, when you look at land use regulations, all properties should be identified by a parcel number and not an address. Particularly in this instance, I would ask the members to consider this and perhaps even give staff some time to go back and correct this on the record, but the PCN number is incorrect that's listed on here. The correct PCN, according to the property appraiser, should be 5343-4228-29000-0020. So it creates a really interesting situation. The clerk just read it into the record with the wrong PCN. But in a normal course, for land use regulations, you always use the PCN as opposed to the address. The other part is, what they're asking for is a rezoning to unify the property. In a normal course of land development, you do not unify a title until all of the parcels have the same zoning. In this case, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it seems to be that the main parcel is designated as downtown core, and the area that is subject to this ordinance change is designated as single family. So you certainly have to correct the record, because in normal course, PCNs is what identify any land use regulations and not the address. So I would certainly encourage you to have your staff to look at it, because it's missing 29 out of the PCN number. That's it. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Would someone be willing to amend their motion to be subject to the new PCN number, the correct PCN number?
Madam Chair?
Hold on one second. Let me ask Mr. Sermons about this. Mr. Sermons, did you take a look at that?
I'm looking now to verify the PCN number, but I haven't been able to do so as of yet since it's been
Okay.
mentioned.
Mayor?
Thank you. That was my question for Mr. Sermons. Is the last speaker reference PCN? I'm trying to pull this up on Papa. I can't seem to locate it. So can you verify the PCN number so that they can make sure that we amend this motion to reflect the proper PCN? And if we can have that insight, because I wouldn't want us to proceed and move forward with not having it properly documented.
Madam Chair, if I may. Yes, we've taken a look at the property, and the comment is correct. It should be a 2-9, and there were 4 of the zeros.
Any other questions in regards to this item? I'd like to amend my motion to include the,
Madam Chair, if we can read for the record, do we have the proper PCN? And if it can be read into the record to adjust the ordinance?
Madam Chair, if I may. If there is a scrivener's error, staff can certainly correct it. If there is if there has been a parcel combination through the county, they display parcels as one on their website, even though that technically there are 2 parcels that are unified. We just need to double check that that my staff, who was the project manager, not going off of individual parcel versus the unified, want to verify whether there was an error or the individual parcel as opposed to a parcel that could have been unified under a process that the county has. But I believe it would be proper that if there's a scrivener's error, it would be corrected on the ordinance without the need for it to come back before a vote. So I would just ask that staff has the opportunity to verify that there wasn't a unity of parcel with the county for these 2 parcels.
yes, I understand. That is why I amended the motion to include that. Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier. Unanimous vote. Madam Chair, we are on item 9, ordinance on first reading, item 9A, ordinance number 4284, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving a future land use change from recreation to community facility, submitted by CORE, MPGA-L Inc., on behalf of the City of Riviera Beach for the purpose of constructing a new police department headquarters at 1621 West Blue Heron Boulevard in the City of Riviera Beach, providing for an effective date and for other purposes. Madam Chair, we do have comment cards on this item. The acceptance of the cards is closed.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Madam, I have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Clarence Sermons, to make this presentation.
Mr. Sermons?
Apologies,
Yes,
Madam
go
Chair.
ahead.
The item before you. The item before you is
Yes,
for you is the future land use. Okay. This,
switch mics? Okay, let me
Want to
try
get
the other one.
closer?
Yeah, just,
She's on her way. She's at the real quick.
Check.
Check.
just,
All right.
just go ahead.
Again, this item has appeared before you at a previous council meeting where it was approved and adopted. It is related to the new police station headquarters that is to be located at the site in the header. There was an error with the notice, the newspaper ad notice required by statute for this ordinance. And for that reason, staff is bringing back both ordinances associated with the police station project for the future land use as well as the abandonment. Those notice issues have been corrected with this item. So if and when it is approved in today's hearing for first reading, it will be brought back for second reading so that it can be readopted, meeting the appropriate requirements.
Thank you, sir. Public comment?
Madam Chair, we have 4 public comment cards. The first speaker will be Mrs. Mary Bram, followed by Lloyd Brown and Roderick McCoy.
Miss Mary Bram, happy New Year to each and every one. I'm going to give you a little briefing here. Early this morning, I've been up early this morning to a community governmental workshop and forum. And I was chosen as one from out of our city to attend this forum to see exactly how we as a government and community is going to move. Barracuda Bay has never made any money for this city here from day one. The pool there is dilapidated. When you ride through there, the sliding water thing there, rusted. All of that money there, that's the same way, that's the same thing that we did for our utility department. We piecemeal. We spent millions and millions of dollars that we could have been building the things that should have been built. Put that police station there. You have all of those schools there around in that centralized area there. Everything is on that corridor there. You have to build in order to meet where your communities are. You don't have to come across the track. It's right there. Inlet Grove is going to be built over there, and that's going to take place over there. Oh, yeah, it will be built. That was confirmed. It will be built. Take Dan Calloway Park over there. We had the pool. We had the tennis court. We had everything over there, all of those amenities there. When these schools are built there, they will serve as a hub for all of those communities there. So that, see, Barracuda Bay, MLK in this city here, that was supposed to be a national monumental park with historic findings in this city here. Every board that has sat up there, they had their own ideas and their own way of doing things. You see where we are here right today here. Because everybody had their own little ideas of how this should work, instead of looking at the totality of the city. Barracuda Bay, yes, you may have about 20 or 15 seniors that come over there using it, but please somebody correct me, but I'm just going to say a 49,000 residents. I may be incorrect, but I'm hoping that it will reach that goal there because we are being built up. It's not being fully utilized, period. It never was. It never was intended for a pool over there. That's why some of that ground area there has those pipes there. And I have more history on it too. Thank you.
The next speaker is Lloyd Brown, followed by Roderick McCoy and Thane Lozman.
How you doing? Happy New Year's, but it's just a new year. I don't know how happy it is. But all I can say is that general area right there, let me tell you, do you ride up on North Lake like 2 and 3 in the day? Do you ride up on Indian Town Road like 2 and 3 in the day? You know it takes you to get from, just say US 1, to just get down to just crossing the railroad tracks if you're coming down North Lake. It takes you 3 or 4 hours sometimes if you go through that traffic. Cars are lined up. Because see, I scrap metal, so I ride all through these areas. I mean, you put the police station there, that's okay. But what I'm saying is, what about when 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you got traffic coming through there? Okay, if they call police, 911, whatever, it's going to take them, if it's a crowd there, it's still going to take them just as much time to come from across the track to get there. So it really ain't no different than whoever put Barracuda Bay there from the beginning. You had the slide right out there. That wasn't even no common sense. That's like a man living by a lake, but yet he'll dig a fish thing in his yard and put fish in it, and he got a lake right there. I mean, you got to look at the traffic. I done been on Indian Town Road. I done been on North Lake. And I done been up there, and that traffic is like at a standstill. But what I'm trying to say is, let's get this water right before we even discuss anything. You keep discussing things like Barracuda Bay moving to put the police department there, all them schools right there. I mean, when the buses come, when the kids get out, you got a guard there where they walking through. Some of those kids don't rush across the street. So it is now you got a police department there. You got kids crossing the street. You got traffic from S Avenue all the way down to that light by Popeyes. And I mean, I know, because I go through there all the time, because I love Popeyes. And you know, we should, honestly, I think we should worry about the water before we worry about anything. You worried about putting the police department there, that's okay. But let's get the water straight first. If the police department takes 2 and 3 years, let's build the water plant. You know what, my bill was $236. And then this month is $216. Right. The water, right? Those meters, you raise the water bill. I mean, I know this don't have anything to do with it, but you raise the water bill. And nobody never, you know, when I was at Pratt, you had to check out those things and make sure they're flowing right. And I haven't seen anybody out there. But the police department, worry about the water first.
Thank you for your comments.
The next speaker is Charger McCoy, followed by Fane Losman.
Good evening again, members. Troderick McCoy. I do agree that this future land use should not be approved. I'm going to read just an excerpt of the grant application submitted to the Solid Waste Authority. City of Riviera Beach Barracuda Bay Water Park, located at 1621 West Buchanan Boulevard, Riviera Beach, Florida, has reached the end of its operational life and can no longer adequately accommodate visitors. Completely untrue. There's also the interlocal agreement that the board members should have seen in November 10th meeting that regrettably was not uploaded. But I found something very interesting that was in the interlocal agreement that I don't even believe any of the members were even aware of. But the interlocal agreement, and Mr. Mayor, I see that you had signed it. It says, whereas the property is in a state of disrepair, is visible to the surrounding community, and attracts nuisances, including illegal dumping, littering, and criminal activity to the detriment of the surrounding community. That's not true for Barracuda Bay. I don't know what staff thought was okay to put in a grant application, but I've never heard of it being a criminal activity, being a nuisance. In fact, members, if you remember, I sat up there just about 11 months ago. We approved a parks master plan, and believe it or not, that was a very, very comprehensive master plan. Master plan had a needs and priority assessment. You wouldn't believe which one was the best facility in the City of Riviera Beach Parks and Recreation Program. Barracuda Bay. In fact, if you look in the Parks and Rec master plan, it never contemplates that Barracuda Bay should be demolished. In spite of the grant application and the interlocal agreement actually saying that the building is beyond its useful life and is in disrepair. The only assessment documented right now at the city says that this facility should be still maintaining, and it received a score of a 2.0, which is the highest in terms of the customer satisfaction, in terms of residents actually indicating what they like best. Also, on the system inventory and analysis, this was the highest ranked building, and it was listed as exceeding expectations in terms of facilities. So I would really caution you on changing the use, because this building is only 21 years old, and according to accounts by the city administration, it's only used 65 days a year. From 2004 to 2025, that's 21 years, a total of 1,365 days. We don't build $20 million government facilities to last 20 years and then demolish it. We need to put the police station back where it came from, because we're wasting taxpayer dollars to go out and borrow another $25 million to build a facility, which we already have. You know, I think we certainly can put some tender love and care, but we should not change the future land use of this property. Thank you, members.
The last speaker is Fane Lozman.
Good evening, Fane Lozman. I think we all can agree we need a new police station. The question we probably can't agree on is where it should be and when the construction should start. I always thought that the new police station should be where the police station fire complex and tear down the old city hall. That old city hall is pretty decrepit, and they keep, patching it. Tear that down and have the police and fire right in one place, and leave the swimming pool Barracuda Bay where it is. But more importantly, how are we going to pay for this? Dollars getting devalued. It's going to be hard to raise the funding, and do we want to put that on the back of the taxpayers? I think we have to wait a couple years, let the police station continue where it is, see how this economy works out, and redo the plans at the right time and move it back to where the fire station is and tear down the old city hall.
Madam Chair, this in the public comment.
Okay. Any other questions from the board in regards to this item?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I've had reservations from the beginning, not about building a new police station, but about demolishing the pool. And I still have reservations because part of planning communities, you need recreational activities for the kids, for seniors, for those who indulge in those type of activities. That's just part of the apparatus of planning communities. Something that concerns me is that we have put building a new pool on the back burner until the police station is built. It makes zero sense to me. One, I don't know why we can't do it simultaneously. And two, I'm wondering why we're prepared to pay the county back funds that if we wait for a couple of years, we won't have to pay them anything. I'm not sure what the agreement was that has been worked out with the county, or if one has been worked out. Mr. Evans, has an agreement been worked out with the county?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we have worked out an agreement with county staff, and it is currently awaiting the actions of this board, and then is contemplated to go before the Board of County Commissioners. What is contemplated in the agreement is that the 2 years that are remaining on the interlocal agreement will be added or held in abeyance and added to 2-year term with the City of Riviera Beach once the new pool is up and operational. But we have worked out an agreement with county staff.
Has that agreement been signed? I heard you mention that they're waiting on us. What are they waiting on us for? If we have an agreement, we have an agreement.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Ratification by the Board of County Commissioners.
You just said that the county commission would do that after we approve it. Is that how I understood you?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Procedurally, we're doing the things on our end, and the county is, in essence, the last signator would act after the city of Riviera Beach has done all the executions of documents on our side before it is provided to the Board of County Commissioners for consideration.
Clearly, this is very premature, but I have a couple of more questions, so I know my colleagues may have some questions. I'm not going to take it up. But why aren't we building the pool simultaneously with the police station?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
We have already commenced the design stages to look at constructing a pool. We had a community meeting January 5th. We also had previous community meetings to have discussions with the community as to what's the optimal location for the pool. And so after we've had those conversations, our consultants, 2GHO, the Gentile group, will design conceptual concepts for us to consider and then move forward with that. We have promised that we would look to bring a pool out of the ground in a 2-year period, and we've put in programs in place to ensure that there's no lapse in services associated with our aquatics facilities, and even expanded the services that we're offering to the residents of Riviera Beach.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
In that 2-year period, when is construction going to start? Is it starting in 2 years, or would it be completed in 2 years?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
It is anticipated to be completed in 2 years.
Okay. And one of the things that was mentioned about making money, recreational activities in municipalities and counties are not designed to make money. They designed to provide a positive activity for the residents in the community, not designed to make money. That is an activity to try to ensure that the community has positive activities, especially the kids, to indulge in. Not designed to make money. So I don't want people to run out thinking that when we build a recreational activity, we trying to see how much we make. And when this pool was designed, that was indicated. It's not designed to make money. Providing activity to our residents. We have that responsibility. One of the things that the former council person said in the grant application that I really did not know is that the pool, was it indicated in the grant application that the pool is in disrepair?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't have the grant application in front of me, but I will tell you that the pool is nearing the end of its useful life. We've had claims on that pool as it relates to the slides. We've had other issues, and then the pool is not, the facility in itself lacks the ability to be modernized to be able to accommodate what recreational services that are being offered in other municipalities.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
My question was, Mr. Evans, is the pool in disrepair? I said yes or no.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
No.
Say it louder.
No, no.
No. So we put it in an application, and staff, I want to see a copy of the application, that it's in disrepair. And most of us know that it's not in disrepair. It may need some work, may need some touch-ups. I'm not saying that. But to suggest that it's in disrepair, it's being untruthful. We shouldn't be untruthful in these applications. You're the city manager, you're supposed to be monitoring these things. And it concerns me that we have said that in an official application, knowing that that's not true. This is not for the naysayers. That's not why I'm doing this. It's about our reputation as a city. If that's discovered by whoever we submitted that application to, that's going to tarnish our credibility for future applications. Also, the former council person mentioned that we said that the pool is a nuisance and there's criminal activity around the pool. Is that accurate? Do Do we have criminal activity at Barracuda Bay?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
I would have to defer to law enforcement. They would know the nature of calls or any calls associated with activities that have happened or any nuisance-related activities at the park.
Okay, I would like information on that from law enforcement.
Okay.
All I want is for us to be truthful and honest so that our credibility is not damaged for future administrations and future council people. This is not a good look. My last question. There were some legal issues that surfaced, I think regarding notices or something. Have those issues been resolved yet?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, that's why these items are coming back before you for reconsideration. So the notice, by effectively hearing this item again, the city has attempted to cure the issue.
Madam Chair.
All right, very good. Any other questions in regards to this item?
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Question, this grant application that's being discussed, was this the grant application request that was submitted to the county to give us this abatement, to overturn? Which grant application are we talking about? And when was it drafted?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
I believe that the only grant application that I'm aware of is with the Solid Waste Authority, and I think that's associated with monies for the demolition. That's the only grant application I'm aware of.
And how long ago was that submitted?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't have that in front of me. I can get that.
That same point, my colleague already asked for a copy of it, so if we can get that out to the board. The second question is, my colleague did mention that this is not about making money, but we also have to be fiscally responsible. And we have opportunity and options for us to not cost the taxpayers this substantial amount of money. Because annually, the water park is costing us over, I believe, $500,000 annually in the deficit to operate, operating at 65 days a year. The number of visitors, I'm not sure if Mr. Young is here or if you can answer, Mr. Evans. How many visitors a year does Barracuda Bay have? And then also, what is the fiscal impact that we're receiving? Because we have to be fiscally sound. And with the development, change has to come along with proper resources. I agree, we need a pool immediately. We've provided resources. Residents don't like to see the change that's coming, but we have come to the end of useful life. We should have addressed our water plant 25 years ago, and it wouldn't have cost us so much money. We can't wait till after this facility has completely run down to be able to move or relocate or to address it when it's costing us over $500,000. If you can give us an accurate number, I don't want to misstate what it's costing the taxpayers. The number one concern is that if we're only operating at 65 days a year, we're not in the business of operating water plants, water slides in community parks like the Rapids, which is in our community. But having a community pool is vital. But it's not going to cost my taxpayers $500,000 plus annually. So we can rebuild that quickly and aggressively and do it simultaneously, as my colleague said. But we have to really understand the fiscal responsibility, because having parks and facilities should not be a burden to our taxpayers, especially when we have so many utilities, so many infrastructure that needs to be addressed. So we can still do the same. We can have a balanced budget. We can make sure that it's not impacting all of our residents and also impact multiple residents versus the under 1,000 visits, I believe, to Barracuda Bay. But if we can get some exact numbers, I'd want my board to clearly understand the decision that this board already made. This board approved this item, but because of a Scribner's error or because of a concern that was addressed and brought to the board, and thankful to the suit that identified this, we want to walk in transparency. So we're doing this the right way, but I would ask that my board still supports the pleasure of the board to move it forward, simply because we're in the right process of addressing infrastructure, addressing growth, and rebuilding. We're also in negotiations with the developer for our community building, which is going to be right back at the City Hall site, which is going to include a pool. So I believe some of the things and concerns are being addressed. Change is happening, but it's happening for the good and the betterment of our residents. And I do support us continuing to have a police station close to our schools that's going to help support our schools in the area. Mr. Evans, if you could address those financial numbers for me.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
In fiscal year 2023, we, after expenses and revenues, the loss to the city was $237,000. In 2024, after expenses and revenues, the loss to the city was $239,000. And in 2025, after expenses and revenues, the total loss to the city was $350,000. Madam Chair, also the question was posed to staff with regards to the number of attendants. In 2025, our numbers were 3,964, and in 2024, it was 6,514. Madam Chair, if I may, with regards to what the city of Riviera Beach has done, because I think to put this conversation in context, we've been having conversations with the board and the community in public forums related to this for years. We did bring ideas to the board and looked at multiple facilities to be able to accommodate the Riviera Beach Police Department, and that particular site was selected by a previous board as the optimal location, as it was already under the control of the city of Riviera Beach. It also hardens the school campuses that are adjacent to it, and 65% of the crime that happens in our community is in close proximity to the Barracuda Bay location. Also, we have facilitated relationships with the Rapids, whereby if anybody participates in a bona fide Riviera Beach program, that they are eligible to receive free of cost an annual pass to the Rapids. That's for a period of 2 years. Also, we have discounted passes that residents can acquire from the city to be able to have day passes to attend the Rapids, as well as we have partnered up with local municipalities and acquired passes to the North Palm Beach Pool, Gardens Pool, Lake Lytle, Gaines Park, to be able to, if a resident wants to go to any of those pools, they would pay the resident rate that those municipalities offer to their residents. And then we have partnered and created a program, Swim on the Go, where residents will be able to participate in aquatics programming in their community, and that we've got agreements in Thousand Oaks, I believe Sonoma Bay. We're working, finalizing some stuff with Berkeley Landing. So we do have programs where we actually are going to be in the community providing aquatic services. And then Mystic Woods apartment complex has given us the ability to operate our full gamut of recreational programs associated with aquatics out of that pool. So we have put things in place to actually mitigate the impact. And I will tell you, from the services that we're looking to provide, the Rapids in and of itself is open 200 days, where we're only open 65 days. We also are going to provide transportation services during the summer and on weekends to be able to get kids to the Rapids. So if they do have an annual pass and they meet some of the criteria that we have to utilize our transportation, we will take them and their parent to and from the Rapids. So we have put things in place that would try to mitigate the issue. And then we did repair and have up and operational our splash pad at Callaway.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, just for my final comment, the last concern, and as we all went to, the entire board traveled to Tallahassee, I'm hopeful we'll get a report on that. The issue that we addressed was the property taxes. This is going to be a ballot initiative that's coming before the board. And these tough decisions are what we're going to have to make as a board, because a lot of these departments, Parks and Recs, Development Services, they're going to be downsized or eliminated. So we have to be prepared for some of these tough decisions, especially if this ballot initiative passes in this coming year. So these are some of the things that we have to look at when it comes to fiscal responsibility, and still continue to provide the services, because we're not looking to make money, but we shouldn't be losing $500,000, $250,000 every year in regards to facilities. We can do both at the same time. So I want to make sure that this is something the previous board passed, and because we had to renotice it, I don't want us to overturn or change the entire direction, but just make the right decisions and move forward with supporting what the pleasure of the board was. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And Madam Chair?
Thank you.
I also do want to note that based on the modification of the program, there is no loss of staffing, there is no loss of personnel, and the program is anticipated to save the taxpayers $193,000 after expenses with the new program. So we will be able to offer more services at a cheaper cost in that time frame that we are moving forward with the construction of a new aquatic center.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
And just let me say, even if, Barracuda Bay was going to was going to stay. I would say some of those programs that we're talking about having in the communities, I think they're great ideas regardless. And I will say, I agree with everything my colleague, Mr. Guidance, said. I definitely want to see this grant application. And, you know, I totally agree that we always are frustrated when the media and people, you know, shed a negative light on our city. We definitely don't need to be doing it ourselves for the sake of getting grants or funding. I would like for us to be transparent, and and this is in our community, and so don't like that, you know, how it was reported in the grant. Definitely when I don't think that it was totally accurate. So who is responsible for completing the grant application or this particular one? Like what department or who?
Madam Chair, if I
Yes,
may,
go ahead.
I have to see the grant application. I don't have it in front of me, but I will find out and share that with the board.
Okay, so when we get a copy of that, can we find out who was involved with that application? I definitely support the police 100% having a new facility. And like they said, yeah, the recreation is not a fundraiser or money maker, but neither is the police station, the fire station. Those are where we provide services. So I am interested in seeing that. And, you know, like I said, I definitely support the police having a new station. I think is well deserved and respect all the work that they do. I do still have concern. When you're talking about, I think the mayor mentioned, you know, the fiscal responsibility, you know, can you just make it sound better that we're tearing down a building that was like 20 million to rebuild one that's like 25 million, like make fiscal sense to me. And I think a lot of the things, like the things that like people are saying about the usefulness and the current state that it's in, that's because of maintenance. That's because if you don't maintain something, that's exactly what's going to happen. I believe if it's maintained and someone put a great marketing plan, that the place would be filled all of the time because it's a great resource in our city. It's something that our families have enjoyed over the years. And to be in a climate such as this and be open 65 days of the year makes absolutely no sense to me. We're in a climate that you could have pool and water parks open at least 8 to 9 months a year, promote it, publicize it, and, you know, actually, you know, make it seem more impactful in our community. But yeah, I just need some more information on this grant. And yeah, can you make that make sense with the?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
With regards to the facility and the intent to see the facility, Barracuda Bay Aquatic Center, relocated to either the Wells campus or to the Callaway campus, most municipalities have, if they do have aquatics elements, it is tied to a recreation facility because you want to have one location where the family in its entirety can recreate. No different than the Burns Road campus at Gardens, where they do have their aquatic center adjacent to their gym and their facilities to be able to accommodate where the family stays on campus. That particular facility and our other parks and recreation facilities actually creates a situation where the staffing is augmented and the staffing is disjointed. So the aquatics team and recreation administration traditionally has been at Barracuda Bay, and then you have what is Wells, and then you have the Callaway campus. We want to see where there's some synergy that you can have staffers and you can offer larger blocks of time or change the schedule to be able to accommodate recreational services throughout the year. Because to your point, there's no reason why the facility is not open longer. But I will tell you the construction of the facility, when the facility was constructed, it was constructed in a way that made the operation of the pool quite challenging and the modernization of the facility quite challenging because you have Blue Heron Boulevard and then you have the recreational admin building and the facilities. And so in essence, to grow that campus, you would have to cannibalize the parking. And realistically, it's the modernization as to why you don't get the numbers that you can anticipate if you did have a more modern recreation facility. But what we wanted to do is tie it to a facility, so if somebody wanted to go in and play basketball or be on the running track and then go out to the pool, and that we think that that would create more synergy, and that is actually what the trend in recreation. But that facility, I can tell you, is at the end of its useful life, and you would find yourself putting more money into that facility than actually constructing a new facility, just because of the construction techniques and some of the challenge that existing site possesses. And you would never really set a recreational site that close to the roadway if you were designing it anyway. So it poses some significant challenges. And when we did look at options, we did look, is there any way to operate the pool for a period of 2 years as we phase in the construction for the police department? And unfortunately, the way it was constructed, you have the mechanical equipment on one side of the property, and you have the pool on the other side of the property, and there's no way to effectively do that. And so we did look at every option and alternative to continue to maintain it at that particular area. We looked at temporary pools. We looked at shipping containers. We looked at multiple options before we got to the option that we are. But in order to pass what the regulations are for the health department for a public pool, there is significant restrictions. So we did hire a consultant to help review our plan to make sure our plan was, one, safe, and two, can provide the services to the residents, so there is no gap in service.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
And I know we got to move on to the next items, but this is my last. You just mentioned something about relocating either to the Wells Recreation Center or the Callaway Park. Earlier, you said that a design team had already begun to develop a design for the pool. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
As a planner, I'm thinking as a planner now, which facility are they designing for? Because, please stop, don't do that. That's not necessary. Which facility are they designing for? If you say they're already designing and we haven't selected the property, because it has to be designed specifically for the piece of property that it may be going on.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
They're designing for what is the Callaway campus. Because even in the community charrettes and discussions we've had with the community, there's been resounding support to see that facility return back to its home location. So we're moving in that direction. But also, I do want to mention that there is likely to be an aquatics element that would be at the Wells campus as well. Different type, but we are looking to plan for what is the pool that would be at the Callaway campus.
Okay. Just 2 or 3 minutes ago, I did ask about which campus that it was being designed for, or no, you said relocate to either Wells or Callaway. So it appeared to me that the decision had not been made. That's why I led with that question to see if you were going to specify which property we were going to use. Once I started to ask more questions, you landed on Callaway. So my question is, who is designing it, and how far they're in the plans? And I would like to take a look at the plans.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Obviously not now.
Yeah. They're the conceptual design, so once we do get that concept back and we can share even the meeting minutes, we will share that with the board. But the location is not concrete until you as the board ratify it. And so that's why I'm speaking in general terms until you all make a determination. But the conversations that we've had throughout this process and with the community has been where people are leaning towards, the community is leaning towards to seeing it placed back at the Callaway campus.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. But last thing, they cannot design a facility without identifying the property. and you're saying we're waiting on us to do that. So I'm wondering how they designing this without knowing which property it is. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Evans, is the new pool being built with funds from the bond, $55 million bond that was approved for recreation?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Part of the campus will be, those monies, not 55 million, well, the Parks and Recreation bond in totality, 55 million. Earmarked for Callaway is about $6 million. So there is a chance where that funding could be utilized for the purposes of the aquatics, the pool, or some other improvements that we look to do at that site. That's a decision that this board will have to make.
Okay, so, Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So, I really appreciate the fact that you as a city manager brought forth the new police station, and we're getting a new police station. I think that's great. I'm a strong supporter of the police department. I think they're fantastic. But as the people said when they got up here, and my colleagues, I'm conflicted with spending this money when we're about to spend $400 million on a water treatment plant. We're going to be spending close to $90 million on 3 fire stations. And then we're going to be spending close to $50 million on this new police station. These monies all have to be paid back. They're not, being fiscally responsible, as the mayor said. We don't have, just because we bond something doesn't mean we have to spend all the money that the people approved in a bond. We can spend less money. We don't have to spend any of the money if we don't want to. But that's going to be paid back in taxes. The people are going to be paying for that in the future in their tax bill. So it's not free money. It's not really being fiscally sound or responsible when you're spending close to $1 billion in bonds in almost 1 year. That's a lot of money. I myself am a little conflicted with the cost of the swimming pool itself. I'm not so sure it's reached the end of its life. Everybody would like to have a new facility. Everybody loves new facilities, but we have to be fiscally responsible. I myself have spent many years lifeguarding and swimming, and I've seen the pool there. I don't see anything really wrong with that pool, quite frankly, as a community pool. If we have liability problems with the slides, clearly we can eliminate the slides. I mean, that's an easy resolve to that issue. But I'm conflicted in spending, we spent close to $20 million, whatever, to build this facility, and now we're going to spend another $23 million, as my colleague said, to build a new one. So that's close to $43 million or whatever we're spending for dirt. That's just for property, when we have the vacant property sitting right where the old police station was and the infrastructure in place for a new police station there. So I'm very conflicted with this. I do appreciate the fact that you want to build it near the schools. I'm not so sure that's a great idea. When the schools come out, there's going to be a lot of buses and kids running all over, and if there's an emergency, that could create a conflict with our police department. So I'm not so sure the location is the best. I certainly support building a new police station as fast as we can. I believe that the designs for this police station could be moved to the old location. I don't think we haven't even done, we haven't done a foundation or anything, soil borings. I don't know where we are. I think we have done soil borings, but I think the facility could be moved to the old site, which is probably the most central location in the city. If you go from Military Trail to the Ocean Mall, the most central location is going to be 600 Blue Heron. And people see it there. It is a government center. It's easier for people to see when they see the firehouse and the police station. Probably the city hall should go on that same location as well, or across the street where Wells is, so you have a real government center like most municipalities do. But I'm conflicted. I don't want to, obviously I don't want to blow up the project. I want to see the project happen as quick as we can make this happen.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Just to provide some additional context, right now the Riviera Beach Police Department is at an office building, and that particular facility poses significant challenge as it relates to officer safety as well as their ability to have their own facility. As this board or previous boards will remember that we had to vacate that facility, the previous facility, because of water intrusion, mold, and the issues that we had. The reason that that particular location was not utilized for the purposes of constructing a new police station is you would need approximately about 2 acres of land to be able to do that construction. What is contemplated at the City Hall campus is that you would maximize the development opportunities to help defer and defray the cost associated with City Hall and the other items that you still need to build. If you took up the 2 acres there, it makes the developability on that site that much more challenging, and invariably it will result in the taxpayer having to pay more for said facilities. The other side of it is right now, in totality, you're spending about $700,000 a year in debt and lease payments already for the Riviera Beach Police Department to occupy space. In the event that you are able to remove that, that will go to debt service payments and be able to help buy down the cost for the station as well. The chief is already looking at other opportunities to pay for what is the additional $22 million for the storage of facilities. But I will tell you, as our community has grown, history and data shows that the police department has shifted west. And so as our community continues to grow out west, one of the things we wanted to make sure when we looked at sites, we did look at options out that were on the west side of the railroad tracks, because we know at any particular time the train tracks does bisect our community. And with the City Hall campus, we're going to look to have a smaller substation at that campus as well to make sure that we can accommodate the growth of the city. But I will tell you, and this board and previous boards will note, that this was years and years of time that we had multiple charrettes and discussions with the community about this, and we fell on this particular property because of multiple factors. Chief Coleman did have an opportunity to pull up the grant application, so I want him to share a little bit about the information that was contained in that grant.
Coleman from the Riviera Beach Police Department. I apologize under the bad weather here. I pulled up the application from the first SWA grant that was submitted in September 2024. The information, I don't know where it came from, but during that application, I can show it to you under the direction of the city manager, that there's nowhere in the application where it states that place is dirty and dangerous and crime-ridden area. I have the application in front of me right now, and nowhere in the application that was created by the police department, it states where that area is in disrepair. Now, SWA have their own process when they take it to their board for approval to award us funding for the demolition. I don't know where that information came from. It could have came from them, but in the application I'm looking at now that's in front of me, it has nothing about being dirty and dangerous and crime-ridden, or that it's in disrepair. I'm not saying the information that may not be out there somewhere, but in the application I'm looking at, that's totally incorrect. And it's the first application that we submitted in September 2024.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
You said that's the first application. Are there subsequent applications
There was
that may be
two
floated?
submitted applications, 2024 and 2025.
Have you checked the 2020?
I have not. I'm still looking for the application, but the first one in 2024, probably we mirror the same application, but this application I'm looking at now is not, the information is not that.
Madam
I just
Chair,
want to
last
bring some
question.
clarity to the conversation.
Last question.
Yes.
I would like to ask the former council person to please provide the documents that he has to my office, not right now, my friend, so that I can review what he has and what we have in the city. You know, we beat this horse to death, but I do want to find out where the conflict is. There's another application out there, you said it is, so I don't know what the 25 say, but anything that we have, I would like both of those applications, and I'd like to compare them with what the former council person has.
Madam Chair?
Hold on a second.
So I was gonna
ask for clarification. So is the application the same as the interlocal agreement? Is that the same? Those are two different documents, so we need both of those. Because I think that's where it listed the information, not in the grant, Chief.
But it was said about the grant and the grant was created by my police department.
Okay, gotcha. So thank you for clarifying that with your police department, but I still would like to see both the grant and the interlocal agreement.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
And to that point, I know Councilman Guyton said not right now, but if our staff can't find this application, I would like to see if they could submit it for the record, if our former councilman could submit to the record to our clerk's office, and she can disperse copies tonight. We're making decisions that this board has previously ratified, but this is a decision that we have to make. And if our former councilman can submit so we can verify that to the clerk, I would love to see a copy of that tonight and not wait on it to come to us later. In addition to that, the application, Mr. Evans, this is something that, if it's so recent, we should have a copy for the record. So we got to figure out where is this copy, what was submitted, and of course things get lost in translation, but this is a grant that was submitted to SWA. So as Mr. Chief Coleman was able to find 2024, whatever we have for the record should be available if this is a factual document. That's the first thing. The second thing, colleagues, to my concern and to that same point, I understand there's some hesitation with possibly proceeding, but also understanding the timeline on relocating back to the current site. We're in negotiations now with the team that this board did approve unanimously to proceed with the Wells site and 22nd Street with a development team. If we try to add a government facility back to that site, that's going to change both developments, which could then delay the progress of this police station by 1 to 2 years, to even have discussions, redesigns, and to have development completed. Trying to overturn all of that right now, and we're back at this position because of an error from our staff, is not the direction that I would want this board to take. I was on this board. I went through the community struts. We had the conversation. This was the direction and the pleasure of the community at the time, and it did pass. I think our concerns from my board is that making sure that we have adequate facilities for our residents to be able to engage and to enjoy. So I want us to really take a look before we just overturn the entire decision. Because if we decide to just rebuild or to reestablish Barracuda Bay at its current site, we're still going to build a police station, there's still going to be a cost, and there's still going to be a large fiscal impact that's going to cost us a lot of dollars. So I really want us to make a clear, conscious decision tonight, and that's why I kind of want a copy of this application now and also have all the information.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Could my veteran board members please clarify? So if there's a yes vote tonight on the first reading, it will come back a second time. So if given new information and, more consideration, because I hear you, Mayor Lawson, but, not everybody, not all residents agree with it being at Barracuda Bay. There's a large amount, and I've spoken to some officers. They don't really care that it's there. They just want a new facility. So I would just like to get the information. So, if I do vote yes today, doesn't necessarily mean I won't change
I agree to that, and thank
in
you,
the future.
Councilwoman. Absolutely agree. Thank
I
you.
think that, we'll call the question, I think that for me, it was the cost of the police department. Everywhere in this city, especially from Avenue E all the way over, the prices have skyrocketed. Either Safe Harbor or either Viking has bought that property up. The Barracuda Bay site, we own that property. If we're going to go somewhere else, we're going to have to buy that property. The Avenue E property is about $20–30 million. So, from my standpoint, I'm looking at it as a point of fiscal responsibility. That property at Barracuda Bay is what we own. If we go anywhere else, we're going to have to buy the property. So, if you're going to pay $20 million for property and another $20 million to build it, that's the pleasure of the board. But for my say-so, I want to make sure that we are at a site where we don't have to pay for that land. And where it is now, we don't have to pay for it. But anywhere else, and especially if you're talking about the old police station, Avenue E, all that's been bought up by developers. So we're talking about, and especially if the city approached anyone in this city with a piece of land and say the city wants to buy it, what do you think will happen to the price? Double. So because we have a site that we already own, that is the reason why the majority of the board at the time said, let's move forward with this site because we own that land, and anywhere else to fit that police department is going to cost us money on top of the building. So that is the reason why we went in that direction.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, Manager Evans, the ITN, I think that's what everyone was referring to, I think that's what the mayor was referring to. Have we finalized any agreements with the developer yet?
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
That is currently under the cone of silence, but we have had our first initial kickoff meeting.
But is there an executive agreement? I'm allowed to ask that under the cone, right? Is there an executive agreement?
Not at this particular juncture, no.
Okay, so then we still own that land.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so then we don't have to buy new land. We could put the police station where the police station was.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
You could move, if you wanted to, you could move the location. You'd have to probably redesign certain elements, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. There is a second bite at this apple at the second reading. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, we need a motion on this item, please.
What's that?
You need a motion on the item.
We did that when you first read it out. No? A motion to approve orders number 4284. When we first read this item out, when you read this item, did no one said so moved or second?
No.
I think I said second.
No, I didn't hear it, ma'am, and I don't have it in my notes.
There was a song when this was read, because we wouldn't have went no further if that was the case.
I didn't hear it. Did you hear it, Dad? I didn't hear it. Did y'all hear it?
I remember item.
No, I didn't hear it.
So what's happening?
I didn't hear it.
The motion was so moved, I think by who? You?
Was it me?
Mr. I thought it was you, Mr. Guyton.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Councilman
Okay,
Guyton made the motion and Councilwoman Lanier seconded. And tonight, staff, I don't know what's going on, but let's just kind of get it together. Everyone, because this is not a good look. And my colleagues, it was made and properly seconded. So if it wasn't clearly documented or heard, or there was some unreadiness, let's just make sure we all get it together, because we've been having too many issues tonight with the sound, with the communications, with everything. So we got a
Okay,
few more items.
let's move forward.
Okay, let's go.
Now, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Let me get clarification like Councilwoman Prunier did. If we move forward tonight, this is the first reading.
Yes, sir.
and
It has to come back.
It
Yes.
would come back to us.
And you can say no, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, I'm not committing to the second reading, but I'll move it forward on the first reading to keep things going. I move to approve. I'm moving the motion, Ms. Hall.
And that's a second again. Madam Clerk, go ahead.
Councilperson Davis Penier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Well, maybe I'm supposed to be after first. I'll say yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
We're going to go into public comment now. Public comment shall begin at 7:30 p.m. unless there is no further business of the City Council, which in that event it shall begin sooner. In addition, if an item is being considered at 7:30 p.m., then comments from the public shall begin immediately after the item has been concluded. Please be reminded, the City Council Board has adopted rules of decorum governing public comment and public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted right here in the middle. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the City Council chairperson may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, we have 10 public comment cards. The first speaker is Tristan Willis, followed by Sativa Williams and Dr. Philip Dukes.
Good evening, Chair Lanier, council members, Mayor Lawson, and other city staffers. My name is Sativa Williams, and I am a resident of Riviera Beach. On the behalf of the 9 students who attended Palm Beach County Days in Tallahassee last week, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what this experience meant to us. We may be young, but this trip showed us clearly and powerfully that our voice matters, our ideas matters, and our future depends on how engaged we choose to be. Over 2 days, we witnessed government in action in a way no textbook could ever capture. We sat across from the very people who write the laws that shape our daily lives. We watched the pace of legislative sessions, the constant meetings, the nonstop decision-making, the pressure of representing thousands of constitutions at once.
Hold on 1 second, yeah. Hold on 1 second, ma'am. I didn't mean to stop you in the middle of that, but we need a third member here. Could I get Mr. Guyton? Apologize. We would take a 5-minute recess, please. Did you copy? They might be in trouble there. All right, we got enough here. Ready? We're going to resume our meeting. We had a young lady up at the podium. Mr. Walter, could you start her clock over? She was interrupted and she probably lost her train of thought. So let's start her from the beginning, okay? Thank you, Walter. All right, you can go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, Chair Lanier, council members, Mayor Lawson, and city staffers. My name is Sativa Williams, and I am a resident of Riviera Beach. On the behalf of the 9 students who attended Palm Beach County Days in Tallahassee last week, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what this experience meant to us. We may be young, but this trip showed us clearly and powerfully that our voice matters, our ideas matter, and our future depends on how we engage, we choose to be. Over 2 days, we witnessed government in action the way no textbook could ever capture. We sat across from the very people who wrote laws that shape our daily lives. We watched the pace of the legislative session, the constant meetings, the nonstop decision-making, the pressure of representing thousands of constituents at once. Many of us were surprised by how busy our legislators truly are. 15 minutes later, someone new was at the door. Yet even in that rush, they made the time to listen to us. For us, that was the most meaningful part, being heard. We asked questions about education, safety, community needs, and issues affecting young people. And instead of brushing us off, our legislators leaned in, they listened, they responded, they encouraged us to stay involved. Some of us even said it felt unreal meeting the people we usually see only on television and realizing they are real, approachable, and genuinely invested in our communities.
Sativa Williams.
Is that a new speaker?
New speaker? Well, thanks to the one who
Yeah.
just spoke.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Tristan Willis, student.
Get closer to the mic, dear.
Oh. Hello, my name is, good evening. My name is Tristan Willis, 7th grade student from JFK Middle. We also had the chance to tour Florida A&M University, where we received a personal behind-the-scenes
Hold
look
on a
at.
second, young man. I can barely hear you with that. Could you put the mic a little bit closer to you? The mic. Yeah. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Tristan Willis, 7th grader from JFK Middle. We also had the chance to tour Florida A&M University, where we received a personal behind-the-scenes look at the TV and radio station. For students interested in journalism, engineering, production, or media, this was a moment of pure inspiration. Seeing this equipment, the studios, the energy, make college feel closer and our dreams feel possible. Of course, we had our share of fun moments too. Some of us joked about the endless walking, the cold weather, and wishing we had more time for photos. But even in those moments brought us together and made the experience unforgettable. What stood out most was this. We saw leadership up close. We saw responsibility in action. We saw how much work it takes to run a state and how important it is for young people to understand that work. This trip didn't teach us about government. It taught us about our role in it. We came home with a deeper understanding of what it means to be a citizen, advocate, and future leaders. And we came home with a message we want to share with you. Investing in youth civics engagement matters. It changes how we see ourselves. It changes how we see our community, and it prepares us to step into leadership with confidence and purpose. Mayor Lawson, Chair Lanier, and council members, thank you for supporting opportunities like this. Thank you for believing that young people belong in a seat at the table. And thank you for continuing to build a community where students like us can learn, grow, and lead. We are grateful for the experience, and we are ready to use what we learned to make Riviera Beach even more stronger. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Dr. Philip Dukes, followed by Cindy March and Lloyd Brown.
Amen, amen, amen. Let's give him another hand, y'all. That's what I'm talking about.
Rev, come in.
Hey, I be believing in that. I know that's bad English. I just said it like that. City Council, Mayor, City Manager, Citizen Riviera Beach. Tonight, next time when I get up here, I'm going to talk more about Zimbabwe, Benin, and the Sudan. But I need to take a turn today and talk about our present administration in America. I am neither Democrat nor Republican, but Democrats and Republicans who know better need to stand up. We have a president that has decided that he's going to tell the Smithsonian what they can and cannot teach. We have an administration that is turning the clock back in America to the 1920s. We have an administration that is supporting upfront white supremacy. And the Christian church in America is too quiet. Why am I talking about the Christian church? Well, we had slavery in America for 240 years because the Eurocentric, evangelical, conservative church went along with it, and they had teaching to go along with it. And that same thing is repeating itself today under this present administration, and folk act like they're scared to call Donald Trump what he is. I don't hate Donald Trump, but we all know Donald Trump is a fascist bigot. He's always been that. But you're scared to say it because of the backlash. This is not political. It's the right thing to say and do. Look at his actions. Look how he's treating people. Look at what he's doing to people. Now, he has all these white supremacists in his cabinet. PragerU, Stephen Miller, and Bannon. All these right-wing white supremacists. And then in the church, you got Tim and Doug Sheets. My Eurocentric brothers and sisters, if you got Tim and Doug Sheets and Cindy Jacobs and Bill Hammonds coming talking in your church, you are supporting white supremacy. And Jesus is not the founder of white supremacy or black supremacy. But we got to say these things. So we got to have a movement to change it. Next time when I come, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this black history thing that you need to learn, because when you learn black history, black African history, it erodes the concept of racism and bigotry. But we ain't been taught that. And there's some reasons why. So next time we're going to talk a little more about it.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Cindy March, followed by Lloyd Brown, and then Thane Losman.
Happy New Year's. Where do we go from here since it's a new year? Well, I want to start by saying I appreciate the police department, the best police department we have had in a long time. as well as the police chief, whether we like it or not. But on the other hand, I don't feel like you all should tear down Barracuda Bay because, number one, Barracuda Bay was not operating until 2004. But on the paperwork, it say 1997. It also says stay operable until from 2004 to 2034. So the time has not expired. So if we're going to be honest as a leader, we got to first be honest and transparent to ourselves. I'm not here to point fingers, but to sit here and our city manager answer the question with a yes or no answer, and he lied with that question, is very misleading. It's very mind-boggling. So how can he lead employees? How can he lead a council or the council trust in him when he's not trusting in himself? It's nothing personal. I'm just calling a spade, and I want to move this city forward. I don't want to be put out of here by the police or going back and forth with the council member. I want to sit down with the council members. Whether it's Lanier, whether it's Glenn Spiritus, I'm willing to be the better person. But you all say you all can walk and talk at the same time. You can't even tell the truth because you all promised us our number one priority was going to be the water. And we have gotten away from the water. I bet you right now people are going to come back up here in the utility meeting tomorrow and discuss they need $100, $200, $300,000, and we still don't have clean water. Why not put that police station back where it was? We own that property. Tear that flag you got up there with that big old stage, tear all of that down. That's part of the police station. I mean, we got to do better. These people, whether I voted for you or not, I support when you're right. Whether I like you or not, I'm going to support when you're right. I knock on these people doors for over 30 years, and all they want is a change. We're better than turkey and a pencil. We want a piece of the pie. And our main goal is to get some clean water in here and get a city manager that's going to tell us the truth and be transparent. That's all we ask for. I do want to thank you for your time and have a great night.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Lloyd Brown, followed by Thane Lozman and Annette Dragon.
How you doing? I'm not even going to talk about that. I got another subject. You know, Channel 12, they were talking about this campsite that's out here somewhere by Safari, you know, Lion Country. They said it's going to close down. So it's on the bottom of the screen, you see it go by there. Campsite closed down. They'll talk about it. You know what? When I was 10, I used to go under the bridge. I used to fish. Now you're going to close the bridge down. I used to go all the way around that curve on Singers Island and we used to park right there. But now, Palm Beach County, I don't know who closed down fishing over there. And like I asked the people here, and you know, they said, well, we don't own that anymore. Well, then don't take out no taxes from me. Because I went over there, and you can't even park on the little bridge. I'm not talking about the first one, the one all the way around the curve. I was fishing on that bridge. I'm talking about when I was in elementary school, me and my daddy, we could park on the bridge then. You can't even go over there. They done put signs up there. But Channel 12, they'll come here if it's a disagreement among y'all. They love to see black people, you know, with disagreements. They'll have Channel 12 cameras and everywhere. But when it come down, let me tell you, Jim Crow is sneaking in. You can't even go under the bridge. You got the tables over there. They using them for snorkel gear. I mean, a picnic table that I pay taxes. But now when they want to refill that ocean over there, they're going to charge me my taxes to fill that sand. But I can't even go over there. I went over to Ocean Reef, and the lifeguard, I'm old now, she want me to walk way down past the rock. You crazy? I used to walk right out there. See, y'all should do something about it. Spirit, I'm only talking to you because you might do something. Because, you know, that's your district or whatever. You can't even go over there under the bridge and fish no more. Take those things you put out there for snorkelers, put it over on Peanut Island. I'm paying taxes just like everybody else in here. But the people who come from up north, they over there. Make them get a boat and come from where they used to have the Blue Heron boat. and go to Singers Island for the snorkeling. I mean, most of the people who can't fish over there are the people who really don't have the money to go buy, so they go over there to enjoy themselves. You can't even do that. The sheriff department, what they'll do, they'll stop you. I mean, y'all need to look into that. You can't even fish that little bridge all the way around there no more. They done put signs you can't even park. You got to get dropped off. And you can't even go up under the bridge on the 4th of July. The sheriff department will stop you. Y'all need to look into that. I mean, Jim Crow is steady coming back.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Fane Lozman, followed by Annette Dragon and Rochelle Hughes.
Good evening, Fane Lozman. Channel 5 has exposed the largest condo scandal in Riviera Beach history. The Amerant Resort Hotel was built as a resort hotel. It is in the zoning district resort hotel, and the future land use map is resort hotel. And the city councils in 2015 and 2017 that approved that project approved it as a resort hotel. Some people on the island were opposed to it, Sika was opposed to it, I was opposed to it, but the city council did not approve that as a condo. After the approval from the city council in 2015, the developer went ahead and filed condo docs with the state. They were rejected. He then went ahead with the prospectus and sold resort hotel suites as condo units, okay? The scandal that's going on there now is that people bought those. $200 million of condo units were purchased thinking they were condo units when they were resort suites. There is a drama between the resort suite owners who can't get homestead, can't get an address, over what has gone on over in this building. They have a new restaurant, an Indian restaurant there called Air. They are running a restaurant without a certificate of occupancy and without a business tax receipt. The spa has never had a certificate of occupancy. Both towers don't have a certificate of occupancy. How do I know? Because yesterday I talked to the chief building official. How do I know they don't have business tax receipts? Because I talked to code enforcement. There's 7 lawsuits going on. One lawsuit is between the building and the city. The city development department refuses to produce site plans that they want. That lawsuit can be looked at on the Channel 5 website. Lady March Goldwire was fired, not because she gave me a fence permit or gave Taylor dock permit. She was fired because she learned about the illegal marketing of resort hotel suites as condominiums. And in order to shut her up, she was arrested. She said she was acting as a building official, a full-time building official instead of an interim one. Ultimately, those charges were dismissed. There's been a cover-up going on where staff has been aware of this illegal condo, contrary to the city council members that approved it as a resort hotel. There needs to be an investigation. You did an investigation of Lawson in the elevator incident. There needs to be an investigation of your staff members who were aware that this was an illegal condo and it cannot be converted back. It's a resort hotel. You can't change the comp plan. You can't change the zoning. You need to go see why are people in that building without certificate of occupancy and business tax receipts. It's a big scandal. It's only going to get bigger in the coming weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Annette Dragon, followed by Rochelle Hughes and Alicia Franks.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year to you guys. I have got a slightly contentious subject for this evening, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but I, for one, would like to see a full accounting of where our tax dollars are spent and any other federal or other government funding is spent. I'm sure we'd like to know how much money the city spends on sending our councillors here, there, and everywhere and their assistants to Tallahassee, and how much the trips our mayor makes to Washington, D.C., together with his entourage and family. I actually would also like to see how much is spent on seminars, podcasts, meetings, and other happenings. And in terms of other happenings, it would be really nice, and I've asked this before, to see a full list of where you are all going to be appearing, at what events, what location, what date and time. I would love to be able to come to see some of you speak at public events and things that you are hosting, or ribbon cuttings, or things like that, but there is nowhere on the website that actually lists any of these events. I also would like to see audited copies of the annual accounts. Another bone of contention or question really is as public officials, we would like to see your full salaries, which are paid to personnel, as well as an explanation of any salary increases that are actually above the 2.8 cost of living adjustment that the federal government recommends. Do the city staff and officials receive any government subsidized 401k contributions or equivalent for retirement? Personally, I would also like to know why my property taxes went up by close to 30% after receiving the estimated figure and the final bill. If City Council wishes to be transparent, it's time that there is full fiscal disclosure. Please may we have that?
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Rochelle Hughes, followed by Alicia Franks and Mrs. Mary Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Rochelle Hughes. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you all had a great holiday. I just have a couple things. One of them, my concern, there's the Celeste on the trail that's being built right now at Leo Lane and Military Trail. From what I gather, there's about 300 units that are going to be going in there. And when I kind of looked at a site plan, it looks like there's going to be entrance and exit onto North Military Trail, along with an entrance and exit on Leo Lane. Leo Lane is 2 lanes. That's it. One going east, one going west. Military Trail at this time can be a traffic jam between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., sometimes later, especially if there's anything happening on 95. In the mornings, you have school traffic. There's a school zone, so it starts slowing down. My concern is if people are if they're going to exit onto Military Trail northbound, but they want to go south, we're going to have U-turn craziness going on at Lillian, where the one marketplace is, to do U-turns. I don't know if the traffic report or whatever it was shows any of that. 300 units, you know, you could be adding 600 more cars, maybe more than that, based on, I think these are 2 or 3 bedrooms. So that's one of my concerns. I don't know how that's all going to, I'm hoping the city and or the state or the county have planned for this. The other thing that I have is back in October, the city came and was with us for a meeting at the park. They talked about resurfacing of our roads. We were told it was going to be in November, December. I'm getting asked because I'm the president of the HOA when this is going to happen. So I'm hoping that we can get some answers when that will start in our development and how long that will take. The last thing I have is I would like to call out and say a big thank you and let you all know you have a great employee in Nehru Belgobin who's in code compliance. He has helped me so much with stuff that has gone on in our community, with different things, with code stuff. I, ask him questions, he responds. He's awesome. Clarence, I do like you too. But he's a great employee. I hope I want you guys to know that, because he is a great help when I have questions or concerns or whatever. Thank you.
Next speaker is Alicia Franks, followed by Mrs. Mary Brown.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and City Manager. I'm Alicia Franks Parrish, and I wanted to inquire as to what was the status. I saw last meeting that Mr. Gaines was to provide an update. And I did see him earlier, but I was just wondering, I guess I didn't understand what the expected timeline or completion of the investigation. I did understand that he has not investigated the employees that were originally to be heard. So I was just wondering, what are your expectations? When should the taxpayers who are paying for this, will know when this investigation should be completed? I thank you so very much for allowing me to speak.
Madam Chair, last speaker is Mrs. Mary Brown.
Apparently something is wrong with these speakers because apparently, your voice is like, it's dragging and we cannot distinguish your sound tone. So I wanted to make that comment. Last year was an anxiety year, not just for you as a board, for you as a staff, as a community, and Ms. Bram as well. Last year, I took some time off because this was my nephew, and I navigated him, and he deceased last year in February 2025. His dad was the first black manager over in Palm Beach, and he's listed in the society books over in Palm Beach. So I want to thank the community, and I want to thank all of the other surrounding communities. Ms. Bram, love you. I will always be there for you because you have always been there for Ms. Bram. And to the Griffin Davis family, Reverend Burroughs family, the great activist, Andrew Bird. I can go on and on and on. Miss Bonnie Lawson, whether you all do not realize that, Miss Bonnie Lawson is a pioneer. When we talk about Newcomb, Mr. Newcomb, Bonnie Lawson is a pioneer in this city here. Let me give you a list, it's not so clear. Bonnie Lawson graduated from Riviera Beach High, and she was truly engaged forever in the city business, not just before any of you all sat up on those boards there. So Miss Lawson, Miss Bonnie Lawson, yes, she has truly been a pioneer of this city here. And it was made mention about Miss Bram. See, Miss Bram does not talk at nobody. Miss Frank sitting right there. Over on the other side, we were all over there dialoguing about Barracuda Bay, trying to get the parents to pay $5 to kind of offset some of the bad revenues that the city has lost. Residents, Ms. Bram would not speak in that tone of things that she has not known and have not been involved in. So Rex do programs, have things that kind of offset some of that 350,000, 300, 900,000, and I can go on and on and on. Exactly what Barracuda Bay has lost. Council Lanier, please let the general public know that we own that property.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We don't own the property over on the other
Yes.
side.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, that is the end of public comments.
Mr. Evans, could you respond to some of the items that were brought up in public comment, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. With regards to the Emirate, that is ongoing litigation, and so the city's position has always been not to comment on ongoing litigation. With regards to expenditures, we do have a portal on the city's website that any and all checks that the city does issue is available on our website, and you could actually drill down on that pretty specific. And as it relates to our audit and our budget is all available on the city's website, so that information is available for public consumption. With regards to the roadway resurfacing, we did have a competitive solicitation process That particular item is looking to come forward for the board for consideration at your first meeting in February to move forward with milling and resurfacing. And then with respect to the ongoing investigation on the mayor's report, that item is going to be coming before the board, I believe, in February. We had some issues with regards to board availability at the end of January, but we are going to look to conclude the report by the end of February. And I will personally call all persons that were impacted as a result of that tomorrow to give them a greater update. And I think that may be it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Madam Chair. Item 9B, ordinance number 4285, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving a request from CORE and PGAL Inc. on behalf of the City of Riviera Beach to abandon 2 unutilized right-of-ways to allow for the construction of a new police headquarters located at 1621 West Blue Heron Boulevard, providing for conditions of approval, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes. Madam Chair, we have comment cards on this item. The acceptance of the comment cards is closed.
How many comment cards?
We have 5 comment cards on this
Thank
item.
you. Mr. Servants? Ms. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I can have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Sermons, to make this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of council, and Honorable Mayor. This is the second of the 2 ordinances that were mentioned earlier associated with the police station new headquarters project. It was previously approved and adopted. However, due to the notice issue, it is being brought back to you for a first reading again. And if and when approved, it will be brought back for second reading for re-adoption. Again, this is the second ordinance associated with the conversation that was held for the previous item, and staff is here for any questions related to it.
Thank you. Public comment, please.
Madam Chair, we have 5 public comment cards. The first speaker would be Cindy March, followed by Mrs. Mary Brown and Lloyd Brown. Okay, Cindy March has left. Mrs. Mary Brown.
This is Mary Bram, Riviera Beach. Hopefully that you all can have some meetings of the minds here. This is what every board that has sat there, they have put this city decades, years and years behind, because it was always nitpicking here, nitpicking there. It was always something. It is not the messenger, but it is the message. Whether or not you would want to hear it or not. Previous boards sold off your city. That's why we're so clustered in here the way that we are. Because it was all a setup. And we talk about somebody being dishonest. Now, if this does not fit you, please don't get offended. Boards have swindled this city. They have played it, and they have played it from A to Z. I'm going to say this too, whether or not you like it or not, because Ms. Bram knows it. And I do not care. I care about you that much to let you know exactly what Ms. Bram is going to do and others is going to do too. Because we as a city, we are tired of leadership like this here. Mr. Evans is under the auspice
Ms.
of
Brown,
you
we're
all.
talking about the police department. You have to stick with that issue. This is the police department item.
Huh?
This is a police department item.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, don't take away my time. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, but we need to move with this police department because this is what has happened year after year after year after year. We need that right away because we need to build up in those areas there. See, you talk about the black communities and you say that we don't have this and you say that we don't have those amenities to build us up. It's because of the derelict leadership. It's always this, it's always that. That right of way is critical there. Because if you build it, you're gonna need that space, that turning and that end. Because you got that plaza there. You got that plaza right across the street there. And you're gonna need some sustainable right of ways in order to accommodate the police department. We own that property. We own it. And when we talk about giving it away, some of you board members sat there and gave away property, prime property for $2, and they turned right back around and sold it. Now, how ludicrous is that? Then you talk about the police department, move these things here. It's time for these things to be moved. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next speaker is Lloyd Brown, followed by Billy Brooks and Fane Losman.
They was saying like Barracuda Bay didn't make no money, and I understood what you were saying. It's for the kids. I mean, Wells Gym didn't make no money, but you know what? It made a lot of grown-ups live right. It didn't have to make money. It made people who were respectable to the older elders. That's what you're looking for. You talking about making money, let me tell you, what is Rock Callaway Amphitheater? How much does it make in the maintenance you put on?
Sir, we're on the
I'm talking about the police department.
Yes,
hey,
okay. All right,
that's what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to say is, you talking about Barracuda Bay not making no money, so you want to put the police department there. Rock Callaway Amphitheater ain't make no money either. We used to go over there on Thursdays. They used to have something. They don't have anything going on. You don't have anything in this place for blacks. And then you know what? A lot of people don't even know. You know, why don't you give out hamburgers and hot dogs and have something at Cunningham Park? They'll show up and tell them about, you know, what you're going to do. A lot of my friends, a lot of them don't even know that you're going to get rid of Barracuda Bay. I mean, honestly, they don't. I wish I had the water from over there because my bill is $236. But I mean, honestly, find out how many people. Have a big meeting over there at Cunningham Park over there. Give out some hot dogs and hamburgers, and they will show up. And I mean, honestly, my friend, they don't know anything about this, what's going on with this police department being put there. And I mean, if you would have put it there some years ago before they built all them schools in that little general area, it would have been okay. But now you got so many people going between Singers Island and out west. You got cars. I mean, I done sit there and watch cars sit there for 10, 15 minutes trying to get through. I mean, I can understand the lady who was talking about out there with it. I mean, I know it, I'm just talking about the traffic, so that's what I mean. So it's got to deal with the police department too. I can understand her talking about Military Trail. I done went down Military Trail, and it's crowded. That's how Blue Heron gonna be right there. I mean, Milton Perry, a friend of mine, he was a police officer. Most of the police officers that I knew, they said, put it in the same place where it's at. And see, that's up to y'all. And then making money, Rock Callaway Amphitheater making money. It's spending money, probably more than you spend at Barracuda Bay, wasting. But at least those kids gonna grow up and they're gonna have, I mean, the right set of mind saying, well, we got a place to go right here in our city. Palm Beach Gardens, I like that place up there, but they do for the people. They don't do what they want.
Next speaker is Billy Brooks, followed by Fane Losman.
Good evening, Billy Brooks here in the role of the president of the Riviera Beach Police Foundation, and I am so excited. Some of you got the text I sent you of the wire transfer that we got. Did you? Well, anyway, our fund received $61,000 today, and it's all because of that gentleman over there. When you all voted favorably on this issue the first time, we went out and told everyone that we're going to have our police department, our new police complex on Blue Heron and Avenue S. We talked with a lot of prospective donors, and they got excited about it, thought it was a great idea. And so now this is proof that there are persons who are really supportive of having that in that location. And speaking just as a citizen who's been in that area for a long time, I still live in the hood. It's going to mean a lot for the business plaza there to have that police department. Customers will feel a bit more comfortable to go and patronize the place there. Also, when we look at the location, where it is in proximity to the schools, and maybe somebody spoke on this earlier, I'm kind of late getting here. I would imagine that if anyone had an idea to come and do something at those schools, they would have a second thought about it. Parents are going to feel so much better with the children having the police department there, the kids going to school. And even with the schools itself, now JFK has some issues there with bullies and folks getting in, gang members. I would think that they would think second thought about that. So, and also the coming down that I-95 corridor, just imagine how it looks. You're coming down I-95, and on the northeast corner, you've got that beautiful fire department. You keep driving east, and then you're going to have the police complex on the southwest corner. It's going to add to the beauty of I-95 coming into Riviera Beach. As you know, if you do your GPS, it takes you all the way over to Palm Beach Gardens coming into Riviera Beach. So it's also a thing of beautifying our city. And, of course, there's a safety issue. And then even we would think that the real estate value is going to increase as well. So there are many great factors, and I appreciate what you've done to make this happen the last time and also this time. So just keep on doing what you're doing. Again, thank you, and the board thanks you, and we know that we're going to get a lot more donors. And I'll be coming back sharing the good news about the money that we're getting. We're going to help the police department. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, I stay in the public comment for this item. I'm sorry, we do have one more speaker, Fane Lozman. Fane Lozman.
Fane Lozman. I want to preface my comments that I don't have the confidence in the presentation given by Mr. Sermons regarding the police department. Because as we sit here right now, people are eating in restaurants at the Emirate that don't have a certificate of occupancy. They don't have the business tax receipt. He should be over there shutting those places down. The city manager should be shutting those places down. You can independently confirm that. Talk to the building official in the morning. Investigate what's going on. Look at the fire department. Why aren't the fire inspections completed? Independently, you can confirm that. You can't have confidence in a development director who is aware of what's happening and is sitting here giving a presentation on a police department. I can't accept that presentation. He should be suspended and move forward.
Very good. Any questions from the board in regards to this item? Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, we need a motion on the item, please.
Orders number 4285.
So move.
Second. Let's go.
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Next item.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Pursuant to the conversation that we had on ordinance 4303, staff is requesting that the board pass a motion to rescind the action that it took on this ordinance and allow for us to bring back the item at another meeting in the future. And so that is the item associated with Bush Canvas concerning the PCN number. So before we move on to other items, staff is requesting a motion to rescind, and then prior to the board taking any official action, and that's item 8A, prior to the board taking any official action, you would need to allow for public comments on the item.
So it's a motion to rescind ordinance number 4303?
Yes, Madam Chair.
A motion to rescind.
So move.
Okay. Very good. Second. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, if I may. Can we call for any public comments associated to this? Because this item is, you're taking action, and you would need to make the public have an opportunity to speak on this matter.
Does the public have any comments in regards to the council rescinding this ordinance number 4303 because of the issues with the property control number? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
I see unanimous vote.
Next item.
Madam Chair, we are on resolutions on regular agenda, item 11A. Resolution number 14-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving a site plan application and special exception application by DDK Learn and Play Center to allow the establishment of a large family child daycare home at 1409 West 35th Street in the City of Riviera Beach, identified by property control number 5643422903-000-0030, providing for conditions of approval, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes.
So move.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I could have the Director of Development Services to make this presentation.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Clarence Sermons, Director of Development Services. And I will be providing the presentation for this site plan and special exception application. Before you on the screen is the header that's already been read into the record. And you can see now the location of the proposed business. And here you can see an aerial view that more closely identifies the property for the subject use. It is currently a residential use and residential structure, and as well as a view from the street. DDK Learn and Play Center, the applicant is requesting a site plan and special exception approval to establish a large family daycare home at 1409 West 35th Street within the city and identified by the parcel control number, the property control number read into the record. The proposed use has been reviewed by all relevant city departments and disciplines and found to be following or consistent with our zoning codes, as well as the other disciplines that have reviewed the project that are shown on your screen. This hearing has been properly noticed for sign and mailers, and staff recommends approval of this request to establish a large family daycare at the address listed.
Any public comment?
Madam Chair, we don't have any public comment cards on this item.
Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Clerk? I'm sorry.
I would just like to recognize that former Councilman McCoy is sitting here this evening, and he is the one who fought very, very hard to ensure that we pass these codes and ordinances to make it easier to have daycare in our community. It's so important to have daycare. It's so hard to find daycare today. So I'd just like to recognize and thank Councilman McCoy for everything he's done to bring us to where we are today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Ms. Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
I see unanimous vote.
Next item.
Madam Chair, we are on item 11B, resolution number 13-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving a site plan application and special exception application by Bare Necessity Family Daycare LLC to allow the establishment of a large family child daycare home at 350 West 28th Street in the City of Riviera Beach, identified by property control number 5643422805-001-0120, providing for conditions of approval, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes.
So move.
Second.
Madam Chair, we do have one comment card on this item, the acceptance of cards is closed.
Service? I'm sorry, Mr. Evans.
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I could have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Sermons, to make this presentation.
Thank you. Again, before you on the screen is the item recently read into the record. This request, similarly to the first, is to establish a large family daycare at the address and location listed earlier, this time by Bare Necessity Family Daycare, operated by La Cocina Walker, is requesting approval of site plan SP 2512 and special exception SE 255 to formally establish a large family daycare at 350 West 28th Street. The location of the proposed operation is indicated on the screen by the red star. With this view, you can see more closely the proposed property for this use. Currently residential use and structure at the property. And you can see here on the screen a view from the street. The proposed use has been reviewed by all relevant city departments and found to be consistent with Chapter 31 of our land development regulations, as well as outside disciplines including utilities, fire, engineering, and buildings. This hearing has been properly noticed with sign and mailer notices, and staff recommends approval of this special exception site plan application. That concludes the staff presentation, and I am present for any questions.
Any public comment?
Madam Chair, we have one public comment card from Troderick McCoy.
Good evening, members. Troderick McCoy. I think this is a great opportunity. In fact, if I can borrow Mr. Evans' words, as society changed, so should government. And that's true because I was serving as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board probably 2012, and I think the credit actually belongs to Councilman Cedric Thomas, who first initiated this. And what I can tell you from personal experience is having an 11-year-old, my son went to a family daycare, and it's not set up the way it was when we were coming up, where there was a daycare in every single church in town. I think people are drawn more to a at-home location, and I think the ladies that I've met over the years working inside of Riviera Beach providing these services are doing a great service for the city of Riviera Beach, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a facility, with the exception of Atkins, right, that actually provides these services. So I think certainly the credit was started in 2010 with Councilman Cedric Thomas, and you know, I just wanted to make sure that we can adjust and adapt to the time. So thank you, Councilman Thomas. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Any other questions in regards to this item? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Panier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier,
Yes.
unanimous vote.
Next item?
Madam Chair, we are on item 11C, resolution number 15-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, on behalf of 4142 Leo Lane LLC in partnership with Sinatra and Company to approve a site plan application to construct a 36-unit townhouse-style multifamily residential community. The subject site is plus or minus 2.51 acre vacant parcel located at 4142 Leo Lane, providing for applicability, conflict, severability, and codification, and providing for an effective date. Madam Chair, we do not have any comment cards on this item. The acceptance of cards is closed.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I could have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Sermons, to make his presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening again, Madam Chair. The item before you now is a site plan request at the address read earlier. This is a new item to you, and for the presentation on it, I will turn over the floor to Principal Planner Curtis Thompson. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Sermons. I'm going to try to move through this rather quickly. I also have in the audience Zach Ciciera, who represents Collier Hearing, the consultant on this project. This, what you have is the project location map. The property is located by the red dot there. You heard the explanation. The property is situated along South Leo Lane, east of North Military Trail intersection, and to the west of I-95, as indicated here. This is the property. This is Leo Lane. This is I-95 intersection. You heard the city clerk, Ms. Hall, read the resolution to you. As you can tell, the subject property is vacant. It is the subject of this project to construct 36 townhome units in a townhouse style on 2.51 acres, as stated by this slide. By the way, the zoning is RM15 and the land use is MF15. So the zoning and the land use are in sync and congruent with each other. This is the site plan that you see before you. It has it has a two-way, one-way in and one-way out. This property is similar to the property, two properties to the west of this site, where if you recall, there's the same property there. They have approximately 3 buildings on one side and 3 buildings here and another building here and in a T shape. So the design of this project is very similar to the lots two properties to the west of this site. This is the architectural rendering of the subject site. As you can see, it's in a townhome design. The floor plan, this on the first floor, you have, this project has 3 or 4 bedroom units. The first floor is essentially the parking lot, the parking garage, kitchen, and living room, dining room area. And then on the next slide here, you have this one unit has 3 bedrooms, and then you have this unit has 4 bedrooms. So they're about evenly split, 18 3 bedrooms and 18 4 bedrooms. This is a rendering of the front elevation in black and white. The rear rendering of the subject townhome unit. Just to give you an idea, left side elevation and the right side elevation. And the landscape plan, which is 70% native vegetation. It meets the code, and there are no waivers or anything like that that's being requested. And as you see by this showing here, the subject property is compliant with the future land use or the comp plan, the zoning, level of service, compatibility, landscaping, lighting, parking, and traffic. Staff did not receive any comment either in favor or in opposition to the subject project. And the public notice, this hearing was properly noticed in accordance with local and state law. What you have here is the affidavits for both the posting of the signage and the mailers. Having said that, to the council members, staff requests that the Riviera Beach City Council approve the proposed site plan subject to the staff's report conditions of approval. I would like to say that one of the conditions speak to a letter from the police department about the lighting and illumination on the subject site. As you probably all know, that property is all the way at the end almost of Leo Lane, and illumination is a concern there. And with the police department's input, Madam Chair, Mr. Mayor, and others, that we make sure that it's properly illuminated. To quote one of the officers, we don't want a recipe for disaster to happen on this site. And so in looking at that and with the input from the police department, we believe there is a condition and condition set to eliminate any possibility by having adequate illumination. And with that, that completes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Madam Chair, we do not have any comment cards on this item.
Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So is this going to be home ownership or rental?
It's going to be primarily rentals. There is some home ownership. Mr. Sierra is here representing the applicant to answer that question, Ms. Spiritus. So I would like to defer to him and let him answer that.
Thank you, Council. For the record, Zach Cicero with Cutler and Hearing in Jupiter. We're a local firm President of Cutler and Hearing, Nicole Plunkett, is here and just doing some introductions. Angela Baina is our project architect. She is in attendance tonight, so any questions for us, we're very happy to answer. To answer that question about for sale or for rent, as of right now, we're planned to make these for sale units, but we do want flexibility in the future. The market can change. We've seen that with other projects, not necessarily here in Riviera Beach, but most recently in Jupiter that we had a project, we got that approved for rental, and ultimately we went back to get it approved for sale or rental just to add flexibility. So right now, to answer your question, is for sale, but we don't want that restricted with this approval, respectfully. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So can you tell me what the sales price approximately will be on this? What's the guesstimate?
Certainly. So our anticipated buyer here is working families, young professionals, and first-time home buyers. To put a price point on it, they are market rate, of course. So, you can anticipate for a 3-bedroom, 1,700 square foot townhome for sale that's going right now for about $400,000 to $500,000. Generally speaking, when you look at the numbers, but that's what we see when we give guidance to our developers. The average household size in Riviera Beach is just under 3 people. That's a little bit higher than some of the other municipalities. And it's a growing city, of course, as you all know. The population's 40,000. But the interesting piece of that is that that's why we chose townhomes, because townhomes are significantly less money for people to start building equity than it would be to build single-family homes. And it produces, it's a higher yield on the tax revenue that the city would receive as well, too.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I would recommend that you take maybe 5 to 10 units and turn them into workforce housing. The county does have home ownership, workforce housing grant subsidies. So you might want to consider that. That would be great for our community if you would take that into consideration.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Penier,
Yes.
Councilperson Gaita, Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier,
Yes.
unanimous vote.
Next item?
Madam Chair, we are on item 11D, resolution number 155-25, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing the execution of an armed and unarmed security services agreement between the City of Riviera Beach and Centurion Security Group LLC to provide armed and unarmed security services and obtained through request for proposal number 1173-25-3 for an initial 1-year term with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year renewal periods, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to make payment and providing an effective date with a total contract value of $3,433,397.48 over 5 years, allocated as follows. Year 1, $670,467.20. Year 2, $670,467.20. Year 3, $690,581.22. Year 4, $690,581.22. And year 5, $711,300.64. Madam Chair, there are no comment cards on this item. The acceptance of cards is closed.
Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I can have the Director of Procurement along with the Public Works Director to make this presentation.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is LaTanya Emmons, and I'm the Procurement Director for the city, and I'm here to present the recommendation for award for RFP 1173-25, solicited armed and unarmed security services for the City of Riviera Beach. The Public Works Department requested procurement's assistance to secure comprehensive armed and unarmed security services for city facilities, the CRA, and the Utilities District. As outlined in the solicitation, a selected vendor will be responsible for providing professional, reliable, and high-quality security services. In accordance with Chapter 16.5 of the Riviera Beach Code of Ordinances, we issued the RFP on June 27, 2025. The solicitation was advertised on the city's website and BitNet and broadcast to 719 registered vendors. Pursuant to Section 16-5-84 of the City Code, and consistent with procurement best practices, the city required all proposals to submit a bid bond with their proposal. While security services are not construction, they are high risk and mission critical in nature. The bid bond requirement was included to protect the city from financial loss, ensure bidders are financially capable and serious, and reduce the risk of non-performance for services. The city received 8 proposals by the submission deadline of August the 5th, 2025. And initially, 3 vendors were deemed responsive. However, during the preparation of the initial notice of intent to award, it was identified that the evaluation rankings had been applied incorrectly. Additionally, it was determined that Gideon Security Corporation should not have been deemed responsive due to an incomplete price proposal. The procurement department corrected the stance, and initially the ranking was for Centurion Security Group received 88.4 points, and Securitech of Florida received 84.64 points. However, on October 22nd, 2025, the procurement department received a public records request for copies of all proposal bid bonds. During the review to comply with the request, it was discovered that Securitech of Florida, doing business as Securitech, has submitted an incomplete bid bond form. At this discovery, Securitech was deemed non-responsive, and the final ranking still stood with Centurion Security Group yielding as the highest rank, and at this point, the only responsible bidder. On Friday, December 26, 2025, Securitech submitted a formal protest asserting that it was an aggrieved vendor regarding the proposed award, and the protest letter is included in the backup. However, on Monday, December 30th, 2025, the protest was denied as ultimately untimely. The procurement code requires that a protest be filed within 5 calendar days of when the protester knew or reasonably should have known of the facts giving rise to the protest. And the notice of intent to award was publicly posted on October 21st, 2025, thereby triggering the protest period, which expired October 26th. Based on the final evaluation results and responsiveness determined, the procurement department recommends award of the armed and unarmed security services contract to Centurion Security Group, LLC. Thank you, and I will happily answer any questions you may have.
Public comment?
Madam Chair, we don't have any public comment cards on this item.
Any questions in regards to this item?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Thomas, you know, I'm a little confused why we would require a bid bond on something like this. First of all, when you require bid bonds, that means you're basically knocking out all the local smaller companies from being able to submit a bid. You know, bids can be thrown out, you can rebid it. Performance bond is the most important part of the project, is making sure that they perform based on the contract that you sign. But I don't really see why. Have we done bid bonds in the past for security in the city? I guess, Mr. Evans, you could answer that one, I guess.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
I would have to defer to the procurement department. I'm not 100% sure on that question.
Has that been done before for this type of project?
I am not aware of the city requiring a bid for this type of project. Bid bonds for this type of project are asked in other entities. It's not, it is allowed, and it's allowed also in the City of Riviera Beach Code.
Wow. Madam Chair, can I respond?
Yes, go ahead.
So, I understand it's allowed, but our purpose is to try and encourage local people and smaller minority companies to be able to bid on projects like this. And as soon as you require a bid bond, they're out of the box. They don't have an opportunity to bid on this project. They can get a performance bond. After they get a contract, it's easy for someone to go and get a performance bond afterwards. But for a small company to come up with $50,000, $75,000 for a bid bond, on something that they're probably not even going to get, uh, is really, just asking too much for a small business. I would suggest in the future that we eliminate bid bonds. Performance bond is the most important part of the project, even in construction. Really, the performance bond is the tell-all.
Okay?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
is the representative of this company here?
Ms. Evans?
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't appear that they're here.
Go ahead, Mr. Guy. He's asking, is a member of the person we're awarding this to, is someone here from that company?
It doesn't appear that someone is here from Centurion.
that's big bargain, $3.5 million contract?
That's a lot for nobody not to show up.
For nobody to show up.
How much is that
Yeah.
total?
3.5 mil,
3.5 mil
Yeah.
over 5 years.
Okay,
Madam
well,
Chair.
I'll speak to Ms. Emmons. We have companies kind of piggybacking on Dr. Spiritus, Councilman Spiritus' point about smaller security companies. I would like for you to reach out to them regarding looking at companies in our community to be hired not just as employees, but subcontractors. And I would assume, I guess you can answer this question, that it is permissible for them to hire subcontractors. Is that correct?
Yes, a prime can hire a subcontractor. I do want, on the record, it wasn't the intent in putting the bid bond to toss out or ignore or make it a high hurdle for local businesses. We said we have arms as far as point of the bid bond to make sure that at that time, right, the companies were feasibly sound, financially sound, and able to provide the services. But it was not a hurdle that one said, oh, let's put it in to ignore the local vendors. That was definitely not the intent.
Madam Chair,
Just go ahead.
Ms. Amos, you kind of glossed over
Oh, I apologize,
my
sir.
point
Yes.
about reaching out to them about hiring subcontractors from our community, not just employees.
Yes, I can reach out to them about hiring subs or local companies. Yes, I can. But I do want to state, I'm not sure I can force them to versus have
No, I
a
know you
conversation.
can't
Okay.
force them.
Yes, sir. Yes, I will. I
Now,
will do that.
how many years do they have, how many optional years do they have in the 5-year deal?
This is a 1-year contract with the option. I'm sorry. Is it 3-2? A 3-year contract with the option for 2 1-year renewals.
Okay, yes, I would like to know their response regarding their reception or denial about hiring subcontractors and not just employees.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Director Emmons, you just said this is a 3-year with 2 1-year renewals or a 1 year with 4 1-year renewals?
Just for 1 minute.
Because
It's a 1-4.
Okay,
It's a
so-
1-year
so bo-
contract with the option to renew 4 times.
4 times.
Okay, so to that point, Director Emmons, with the option to renew, who has that option and how is it executed?
So, as we stand up the contract administrator role, what we will look for is when a contract is about to expire to reach out to the department to determine if that contractor is performing according to the contract itself. So when the council approves what is essentially a 5-year contract, then we leave it up to the department to say yes, and then it becomes an administrative function to automatically renew. And so that's why we put that it is a 1 year or 2 year, we put those options here. If you all approve that, then every year we just automatically renew. That's been the historically history here, but that is kind of a normal practice versus coming back to council at the renewal because you approved it at the initial ask.
So, to that reference, I think the concerns, first thing, to Councilman Guyton's point, a $3.5 million contract for armed services, which is the safety and security of my residents, every facility here, and this council and this board, and to not even show up for the meeting is concerning, even telephonically, is a little bit of an issue and concern for me, one. Number two, during my comments, I intended to talk about the procurement conference and discuss some of the local benefits. Councilman Spiritus referenced the surety bond, the bid bond that he referenced, and then also some of the other requirements for local bonus points and the ability to actually hire and give locals an opportunity. So I do want us possibly, and hopefully we have the time tonight, we can address the procurement conference and bring in some of the discussion to our next meeting to talk about outlining how do we actually benefit and change the procurement process to benefit and impact locals. I'm not sure if I'm supportive of this contract, colleagues, just because a few things. Number one, there's a certain respect and decorum the city needs to demand. And for a contract to be awarded to an applicant that didn't have the decency to show up tonight is concerning to me. 1 year with 4-year renewals. We just hired our contract administrator, which just recently started. But I also want to believe that we want to have the opportunity to review what's happening with these contracts to make sure that we're providing the utmost top-tier quality service and that we as a board can make that decision. And 3, I'm very concerned with the local opportunity. I really want to make sure we push for locals to have contracts and have these opportunities to benefit, especially when we have well-qualified companies that can actually benefit from these. So I'm sorry, I don't know if I can support this security contract. I know this is the 3rd or 4th time it's come before us, but I really want to see an opportunity for a local vendor and then also take some of the restrictions that have limited governance from spending locally. And that's why we had the procurement conference. So implementing policy that's reflective on what we actually talked about. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm agreeing with the mayor. I put the motion out there to approve it in anticipation that I can speak to a representative. And after I put the motion out there, there's no representative for a $3.5 million contract. That concerns me. The other thing that concerns me, if we awarded the contract, it doesn't come back to us, and we don't know. You can document whether they've hired the locals, subcontractors, but I want to be able to look him in his eye or her and say, this is what we want. Are you good with it? I can't do that. I got a problem. So I'm not sure if I can, well, I'm not saying, I am sure that I cannot support it tonight. I want to see him.
Madam Chair, just to, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
And just to clarify, my decision is not exclusively based, it's not a requirement for them to be here. To be awarded the contract, they're not required to be here, and that's not based on my decision. I want us to make sure our procurement process is properly documented. I want to make sure that we have all the parameters in place to address one of the hardest working departments of security. Overseeing outside of my police force, I need to make sure we have the top-tier security system in place with staff that's going to make sure they operate. And I want to make sure that we've done a procurement process that helps benefit. And I'm also concerned, this is the first time I've seen a 1 year with 1-year renewals. We typically do a 3-year. So understanding your process and with our contract administrator that's going to start reviewing that, I want us to maybe take another bite at this.
Any questions in regards to this item? So you're telling me that after 1 year they come back, or you
No.
have to?
Staff make the decision.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go
could
ahead.
we amend that where it does come back before the board, or that's just a part of the process? We can follow the wishes of the board.
Yes, go ahead.
Subsequent renewals, that is something that you can proffer on the dais, amend the resolution, and assuming that the contractor would be amenable to that, that's something that could provided for.
Commissioner Guy, you want to offer that amendment?
I do not. everybody else can. They
Okay.
should have been here. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, disrespect.
Okay, you don't offer that amendment?
I will offer, that motion with the amendment that after 1 year, it comes back before the board for, renewal.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Before the 1-year expiration, so I would say, 10 months after they're on-prem, that there is a discussion or an item that comes back before you to talk about subsequent renewals and the like. Because you do, at that time, if you do attempt to effectively off-ramp that company, we still would need to have them in place until a successor company is named.
So I will, can I just go ahead and amend it to, come back before the board after 10 months, before the renewal?
Wait, Madam Chair, if there's a motion on the floor, we have to either resolve it, since I made the motion.
She's making an amendment to it.
The maker of the motion has to
The
agree.
maker of the motion. So either we have to vote this motion
Down, okay. Down.
down and then make the amendment, because I'm the maker of the motion.
Okay.
Well, make that motion then.
All right, very good. So this is, resolution number 155-25. Roll call.
Councilperson Davis Vannier,
No.
Councilperson Gaita,
No.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
No.
Chairperson Lanier,
No.
item fails.
You want to make that motion to have it come back in less, 10 months?
Yes, second.
Would that be a new resolution for,
Can we go with that she said it?
I think, or no, actually, Chair Lanier made the motion.
And I second it.
Councilperson
she said, yes.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
So the direction to staff, or what would be revised in the resolution, is to amend the term of the contract for a period of 10 months and not to enter into any subsequent renewals until the item is brought before the board for consideration. So you would affect, but you give them 1 year, but before the expiration of the contract, they have to come before the board for status update and to exercise subsequent options to renew.
Excellent. Roll call.
Madam Chair,
Councilperson
point of
Davis,
order.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Can we table this until the next meeting so that we can speak with the representatives from the company, as my colleague requested, which I think is very important?
Second.
Would that be considered cone of silence?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, but the vendor can still come and answer questions,
I see. Okay.
that you all have, because it's a public
Ma-
meeting.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Not if you bring them to a public meeting in the sunshine and the item's agenda and noticed appropriately. You could have that discussion with them. So you could effectively table it and bring them forward. The other thing is, if there are specific questions that the board may have, I would encourage the board to communicate that to staff specifically in this forum, and then they can be prepared to bring back those answers to you all, because we could not have conversations with you at the conclusion of this meeting. So this is the appropriate venue. If there's specifics that you'd like to make them aware of, that you'd like for them to discuss when they do appear before you, this is the opportune moment to do so.
Okay, so let me get this correct. So this motion was voted down for the 5 years. A motion was made for it to be 1 year, basically, and come back in 10 months. You're saying that take those motions back and just table that motion to the next meeting.
But doesn't the table take precedent of the motion on the floor?
But the best way to handle it is for the chair to withdraw her motion, and then that's done with that, right? And then you go into the new tabling of this and bringing it back at the next meeting with whatever direction you all give staff now to relay to the company.
Uh-uh. not following.
So,
So you're saying that this motion was voted down. That means that this is out. This is
And
over.
you made a new motion.
So we're gonna make a new motion to,
You already made a new motion.
okay,
That Ms. Davis Panir seconded. You can withdraw your motion because you were the maker of the motion. And if you withdraw your motion, that takes it off the floor, and then the next motion can be a motion to table until the next meeting.
got it. So I withdraw that motion, but let me ask you a question, Ms. Ammons. Is the current security arm, team, are they a current provider? Are they the current provider, the one that we are awarding this to tonight?
No.
Okay. So what will happen is that the current provider will still be month to month?
Yes.
All right. That motion was pulled back, and then we'll table that motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we table this motion till next meeting.
So move. I mean, second.
Roll call.
Councilperson Davis Pannier?
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton?
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus?
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier?
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
So if we, after speaking or asking the questions, and, we don't like the answers or they don't agree to our, what we would like to see happen, would we be able to take it back out, or what?
Yes, I would cancel the current solicitation and resolicit.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
any direction or any questions that you would like for us to take back to the vendor, this is the only opportunity where the board would have that opportunity to articulate to the procurement director, and then she can go back to the vendor, because she is the only one permissible to talk to the vendor during the cone. So if there's questions that you all have,
Right, I know the first question for me, for the vendor is, what is their plan for local participation for this contract?
I didn't.
What is their plan for local participation for this contract?
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Question for me, with the current staff, what is their plan with bringing on or looking at the current staff? Are they gonna give them first right of refusal? Are they gonna give them an opportunity to hire some of the staff that we have on? Are they bringing in all new people?
Madam Chair? Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you tell me what the prices were of the, I don't have this sheet in front of me, but
Sure.
what were the two other bids? You said that you received 3 bids, right?
Yes, sir.
The recommended awardee cost, and remember this is an RFP, but their cost proposal was 600 for year one. I'll just start with year one. I didn't total it up for every year, but year one was $670,000 a year. For Securitech, which the 3 that we evaluated and we opened, but Securitech was non-responsive. This was $833,000 in the first year, and then Get Into was also deemed non-responsive. This was $89,000. So
The low bid was how much?
the low bid was $670,000 a year. And remember, this is an RFP, so it's part of the proposal, but the price sheet, again, the highest ranked had the lowest price of $670,000. The other 2 vendors, if they were able to be considered, but they're not because they're non-responsive. Number 2 was $833,000 approximately, and then the last one was $889,000.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Did you put in the RFP, did you ask how much they're gonna pay their employees per hour?
No.
I would suggest in the future you include that.
Typically, you don't ask people what they're going to pay their employees. It's the price to do business. And so that was their cost.
Yeah, I know typically you don't, but this is a way of guaranteeing that we have decent paid employees here and not low paid employees.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
one of the things that we can do is a notation in the solicitation that the City of Riviera Beach has a livable wage resolution where no employee makes less than $15 an hour. And that was something that this board did years ago. So we could put language that says the City of Riviera Beach, values, equal and fair compensation as depicted in this particular resolution. Because the council person is right. You have situations where you have people that are guarding multiple facilities that invariably are going to be making significantly less, $9, $10, $12 an hour over they're going to be guarding multi-million-dollar facilities. So that's something that we can even ask the vendor. I'm sure they would be able to share what their wage scale is when they do come back before you all.
Yeah, Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that you can get these numbers, through the industry, what a good number is. I'm sure the police chief can help you with that as well. I could tell you that at the Waterglades condominium, unarmed guards are getting over $18 an hour, $19 an hour. So I would think that this would be substantially more, but we don't know.
Any other questions? Let's move on to our next item.
Madam Chair, we are on item 11E, resolution number 161-25. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing the execution of a citywide janitorial services agreement between the City of Riviera Beach and American Janitorial, Inc. for citywide janitorial services procured pursuant to request for proposal number 1174-25-3 for an additional 1-year term with a minimum contract expenditure of $543,953.37 with an option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to make payment for such services and providing for an effective date. Madam Chair, we have one public comment card on this item. The acceptance of cards is closed.
Evans?
Madam Chair and members of the board, if I can have the Director of Procurement and Public Works to make this presentation.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Latanya Ammons, and I'm here to present the recommendation for award for RFP 1174-25-3, which is citywide janitorial services for the City of Riviera Beach, the Community Redevelopment Agency, and the Utility Special District. The Public Works Department requested procurement assistance to secure a qualified and experienced vendor to provide comprehensive community or citywide janitorial services. In accordance with Chapter 16.5 of the City of Riviera Beach Code of Ordinances, the Procurement Department issued the RFP on June 27, 2025, and it was advertised to 587 registered vendors. A mandatory pre-proposal meeting and walkthrough was held on July 11th, and attendance for the entire day was required in order to submit a proposal. 8 proposals were submitted by the deadline. 3 were deemed responsive and advanced to the next stage. After evaluating and scoring the technical and price proposals, American Janitorial received the highest overall score. American Janitorial received 935.17 points. Clean Tech Services received 901.91 points, and Clean Space received 892.50 points. Based on the final evaluation results and responsiveness determination, the Procurement Department recommends award of the citywide janitorial services contract to American Janitorial. Thank you.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chair, we do have one public comment card.
Let's do that.
Mrs. Mary Brown.
Mary Brown, Riviera Beach. I have just one quick question, because when I read this, it says citywide janitorial services. Is that includes the whole city,
just the complexes within your city, you know, like your government offices, you know, anything that is pertaining to the inside of your city, because the word citywide means the whole city. My question is this for the services that's being rendered outside of maintenance in your work areas, in your buildings? So that is my question for this money here to be spent, and with the indication of citywide. So I would like for that to be answered. What all does this citywide include here? Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
As a point of clarity, it's for city facilities. Primarily, city facilities are where the security services will be provided. So, city hall.
Janitorial.
Oh, sorry. Same thing. City facilities. So, city hall, public works. You know, the ambassador centers. Those specific facilities. Public or the utility district. That's where the services are going to be provided primarily.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
City Manager Evans, does that include the restrooms, for example, at Ocean Park?
Madam Chair, staff is saying with an emphatically yes, that includes our public facilities, our recreational public facilities that are front-facing.
Well, Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
since you brought that up, colleague, will that include the bathrooms like at Cunningham Park? Because I've been told by residents that those stay locked during the day because of safety or because of cleanliness in that area. However, on the island, theirs stay open with security. So can you give me a little feedback on that? Because I've had people take their families, their children there to the park, and when it's time to use the restroom, they have to leave because it's not usually
Madam
open.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
That is news to me. So those restroom facilities will be open tomorrow, and we will have, whether it's to amend or add that onto the agreement for the cleaning, and then we'll make sure staff monitors the restrooms as well. But we will make sure that those facilities are made available to the public when the park is open.
All right, thank you.
So do you have, I'm going back to security services now. Do you have security at any of your parks?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
No, we do not have security services at the parks. Now, if there is special events or activities going on, yes, we do have our law enforcement. We do provide security services when there is youth football games and, some large-scale activities that we have events, then we do it. But we don't have what is a rover or somebody that's in the park like other communities. Some communities have established a park ranger program, and that's something that I think long-term we can look at to facilitate that, to accommodate just having people in the park consistently.
Okay, one more security question. What's the difference? We have police officers here, we have the security forces here. I mean, why would we have both?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
It's not permissible under Florida statute to have law enforcement officers do security-related duties. Because we've had the internal conversation about the management of the contract and the like, and it's not permissible to commingle the streams. They can't participate in, searches or wanding and the like. And if you see even our security detail with our law enforcement here, they're usually set away from them. They're there to help and support, but they cannot be doing anything that is considered what is security-related duties. It's not permissible under Florida law. And there's some constitutional elements as well, unlawful search and seizure and the whole nine, the Fourth Amendment, but you can't commingle those.
So with the janitorial services, is the applicant here, the awardee here? Yeah, I think we need to do the same thing to this as we did to the previous one. Yeah, because, we're talking about,
Well, then where?
that's about $2 $500,000.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead,
I
sir.
make a
Did
motion
we-
that we table this to the next meeting.
Very good.
Second.
Madam Chair?
Hold on a second. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, just go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did we notice this to the applicants, that we were gonna be awarding these, contracts tonight?
Yes, for American Janitorial, according to staff. But normal
How was that communication sent out?
email.
There was an email sent out that we would be awarding this contract, and when was that sent?
Just a moment, and,
Thank you,
Dr.
Madam
Chuck.
Chair. Because again, and as we're clear, it's not a requirement to attend.
It's not.
And that's
Right.
just, and that can't deter or discourage the reason for the decision, but just clearly understand that, we as a community cannot allow for this level of disrespect.
Staff is informed that it was January 9th that an email was sent to American Janitorial.
That they would be awarded this, tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, after we dispose of this, can we also get the information for security when that email was sent out?
We have a motion on the floor to table this, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Davis Penier,
Yes.
Councilperson Gaita,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Let's go to our next
So
item.
what about this, I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
Madam
go ahead.
Chair. So was the security company notified?
No, security was not officially notified, directly from staff.
Why is that?
I think in the, I want to just state that in the event of we just don't normally let the companies know that the contract will be awarded, but we will put that in our process moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. With that kind of money.
We have questions.
If we wanted to ask questions, we couldn't.
I understand, and I will inform staff that we will do that moving forward for all solicitations.
Very good. Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair, we are on item 11F. Resolution number 11-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the landlord's consent and estoppel certificate to Ocean Walk LP and authorizing a Fifth Amendment to the Ocean Mall ground lease retail to include a maintenance agreement and providing for an effective date. Madam Chair, there are no comment cards on this item. The acceptance of cards is closed.
So moved.
Is there a second for this item?
Second.
We have a second. Stanley?
Madam Chair and members of the board, if I can have Assistant City Manager Coppin to make this presentation and introduce the speakers that will be here this evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Madam Chairperson, and Honorable Commissioners. This is a maintenance agreement that we've incorporated into the lease agreement for the Ocean Walk Mall. City attorney, staff, outside counsel, and counsels for both property groups got together and restructured a maintenance agreement to make it more amenable to us going forward with this assignment. There were some issues that were going on at the Ocean Walk Mall Plaza that needed to be addressed, and I think with this new maintenance agreement, I think we've got that addressed.
Chief, can you move the mic closer?
Sorry about that. I think with the new maintenance agreement we have in place now, we have that addressed, and I've been in consultation with the new property maintenance team that have already sent letters out to the property lessees, letting them know that we're going to be a little bit more stringent in our enforcement of some of the issues that have been going on over there the last couple of years. In attendance is our in-house counsel that we've used, and also counsel for related, and also the property managers that can answer any questions that you might want to avail of them as we go forward. And I'm here to answer whatever questions you might have.
There were some questions that we had before. Were those questions addressed? I think it was about, was it maintenance in regards to, there were pictures that you showed us. Yeah, those items. Is that a part of the contract?
It is. It is, and we did tweak that. Some of it had to do with some of the equipment coming in, as far as the light fixtures, 'cause that was one of our major issues. A lot of light fixtures were either inoperable or unserviceable. They've corrected that. They've corrected some of the issues going forward with the, I know we had spoke previously about the maintenance of the grease trap, and I can let Mr. Lewis expound on some of the other items that we've gone over collectively as a group. We've all kind of gotten together and.
I think we need to hear from Mr. Lewis.
Okay.
We good.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, Madam
No.
Chair.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so, ACM Coppins, my problem, we've been discussing this for a long time now.
Yes, sir.
And my issues go to the city manager on a regular basis because I receive complaints on a regular basis about the Ocean Mall. Clearly, the number one complaint that I receive is the noise from the live music outside the buildings, not inside the buildings. The Ritz-Carlton, I must get 10 complaints a week, and I know that the city gets them as well. Are we able to do something in this lease agreement to prohibit amplified music outside the building?
We're going to take a proactive approach with enforcement through code, police, and fire to address those issues dealing with the loud music and some of the sidewalk issues, the egress and ingress. It's not listed in the maintenance agreement, but in-house, we're going to address that weekly. It's already started with Captain Myers, putting folks on notice that this is what we're going to be going forward with as far as the loud music aspect and not blocking people being able to come back and forth towards certain restaurants within the plaza.
Right, but ACM Coppins, what they've figured out is they go inside the gate now. They stay off the sidewalk, our public sidewalk, and they go to the outdoor area, and they have the music there. You know, I go by there every single day, once or twice a day, at least. I think we have to do something more. It'd be easier if we included that in our lease agreement. That would make me feel a whole lot better, because I wouldn't be getting 8 million complaints, every month. I could tell you that I've seen cracked sidewalks for years now. The lights, as you know, aren't always working. I've seen dead plants there that have not been removed for years. The same dead plants are standing right next to the doors of the restaurants. I've never seen anything like it. The signs on the sidewalks really bring down, the whole quality of the environment. It makes it look really, hunky-tonk. It'd be much better if we enforced our rules with that, and maybe I would assume that might even be in the lease agreement, that the store owners can't have signs on the sidewalks. But these are the things that I get complaints about on a pretty regular basis. Clearly, the painting, I saw that you had in there painting in 5 years from now or whatever. Those buildings need painting now. They haven't been painted since the building's been built, except for the new building that's going up, the new restaurant, the old Mulligan's. They painted it, and it looks like a brand-new building. Just a coat of paint really changed it dramatically. I mean, it looks fantastic. I don't know why we can't get the paint in there within a year to paint those buildings, and it will really dress up the mall substantially.
Yeah, I think that is addressed. And it's not just the painting. A lot of patching needs to be done. I think they're going to get that, well, not that I think, I know they're going to get that accomplished within the next 12 months, and then I guess every 5 years going forward, it'll be.
So we're going to see painting in the next 12 months?
I believe so. I can let the property manager expound on it if you would like. But I
Like to hear them
believe
say
that's-
it, make me feel better, hear it from them.
Could you come to the mic and get you on record?
Michael Verdejo with the Related Group. And yes, the repainting of the center will be completed by June 30th of 2026.
Can you also tell me whether or not in your leases you prohibit music outside, or do you specifically permit them to have music outside?
That I believe it is prohibited in the leases, yes.
It's prohibited.
Yeah.
Okay, because a couple of the owners of the restaurants say that it's in their lease they're allowed to have music outside.
I would need to look at the leases specifically, but I believe they're limited to within their confines.
Right. You know, you have to be a good neighbor. We really didn't have this music problem until the pandemic hit, till COVID. We started giving a lot of the tenants a lot of leeway to make sure that the businesses didn't go out. We let them put tables on the city sidewalks. They still have their tables on the city sidewalks. You know, these are things that we have to start reeling in these businesses now so that we can, I mean, they're going to do well there, but we have to also have a good quality of life for their neighbors. So it's very important, please, that you make that clear to your tenants. Thank you.
I want to ask too, is there any forthcoming development at that property?
Not under our ownership, no.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Penier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
Yes.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That's a unanimous vote.
Thank you, guys. Next item.
Madam Chair, item 11G was moved to the next agenda. We are on item 11H, which is Turnberry project.
Could we have, Mr. Evans, could you explain, oh, I'm sorry, you put that on. Go ahead and tell me what you,
Well, actually, all I wanted to do is vote to move it back to staff to bring back to us. That's, we can't make a decision tonight. Mr. Evans, if you want to chime in, you can quickly.
Madam Chair, if I may?
yes,
Yes, I did send an email correspondence that if the board wanted to hear this item, we need to have consensus from the board to bring this item back and facilitate the appropriate notices.
offer a motion.
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk,
Councilperson Davis Penier.
Madam Chair, we can have discussion?
you want to discuss?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, so I just want to make it very clear. I know that the council members have been receiving many, many emails. I've been receiving the same emails. I've met with almost every condominium board and association, civic associations as well. I could tell you that it's overwhelmingly against this project. So I just want to make that very clear and get that on the record.
So, with that being said, Dr. Spiritus, I too have been receiving emails, but is this two different projects we're talking about? Because
It's
I keep getting emails from the project at the foot of the bridge, but this project that we're talking about now is not that. Am I correct?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you're correct. And you are getting emails, because we are getting emails too on both of those potential
Okay, so
projects.
that's not what I'm, okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
I get emails on both. I get emails on the on the CRA district area, and then I get emails on the oceanfront area. You know, so I get both, and I speak to the people on a regular basis. COSI held a very well-attended town hall meeting here at the event center, well-watched as well on YouTube, and I can tell you that it was overwhelmingly against both projects.
Both projects?
Yes. And I want to make it very clear, the people on Singer Island are not against development. They're just against overdevelopment. They want to see smart growth. All of these projects will sell for the multi-million-dollar range, and we have no problem with seeing development. We have no problem seeing with high-rise development in a high-rise district. You know, we have 35 high-rises right now in just a 2-mile stretch on Singer Island, on the oceanfront area. We only have a 2-lane road that comes in, a 1-lane in and 1-lane out when you go north, and that's where 90% of the people drive. They drive north. They do not drive over the Blue Heron Bridge. They head up north, and right now we have traffic backing up. When that PGA bridge opens up, the traffic backs up all the way from US 1 to the church or Lost Tree. Sometimes it could be even further. So we have a major traffic issue there. right now, and this is something that has to be considered. And like I said, we're not against development. We just want, smart growth development, develop within our code. We're saying we have a zoning code, build within that zoning code.
Very good. Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Davis Penier,
Yes.
Councilperson Guyton,
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Spiritus,
No.
Chairperson Lanier.
Yes.
That passes with Councilperson Dr. Spiritus dissenting.
Let's go to the next item.
Madam Chair?
Of 6 minutes.
Madam Chair?
It's 10 o'clock. Do we need to extend it?
Before extension, the discussion and deliberation, this determining and seeing how pressing of a priority this item is, possibly going into tabling this or bringing this back at the next meeting so that we can leave enough time for this board discussion, because I'm not sure if this is a pressing item, being that it's just a discussion item.
Any objection to table this in next meeting? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please, table 12A, to the next meeting.
Madam Chair, if I may, just very
Move to
briefly,
next meeting, that's it.
if the board can just take a look at this item and email us your comments, because it is slowing up, some of these appointments to some of the boards. So just take an opportunity, email us, and we'll bring it back for subsequent action.
Okay?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
What exactly do you want us to do? Can you give me a little direction, because this is just a blank, with a bunch of boxes?
Yes, Madam Chair. We have a lot of ambiguity in advisory boards, terms, term limits, appointment authority, and the like. It's all over the place depending on when this board was created, and we want to make it consistent and uniform and make sure that there's representation all throughout the city. So that's really the crux of the item.
Okay. All right, very good. That'll be to the next meeting. Next item, 12B.
Madam Chair, item 12B is civil rights.
Madam Chair, that was me, but in the essence of time, I don't want to be rushed about what I was going to say. So if I can be moved up on the agenda in the next meeting.
Further up on the agenda?
Yeah, further up
Yes.
on the agenda in our next meeting.
Okay. Comments by Executive Director? I'm sorry. City Manager?
Madam Chair, if I may, just a couple of items. The grant application and bringing that information back before you all, or emailing you that information. Staff did take a look at the documents, and the document that was cited was actually the Solid Waste Authority's actual interlocal agreement, nothing that staff put together. So we'll send that out to you so you all have that. Also, we had a productive discussion in Tallahassee, but for the sake of time, I won't get into the projects and some of the lobbying efforts that we did do, but I think we're going to be very successful this legislative session, and I will make a full presentation at the next regular meeting of the council. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Attorney? No comments, Madam Chair. Dr. Spiritus?
No comments.
No comments, but, Manager, I will be, who do I call to ask questions about the board appointments? You? Okay, all right, sounds good, thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to let the community know next week we're going to be awarded a grant at the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Thanks to staff and my chief of staff, we submitted an application where we're going to be awarded a $50,000 grant to the city that is going to address childhood obesity using financial literacy. That'll be in Washington, D.C. And we'll be taking the youth council to Tallahassee as well. And board, real quick, the street naming, are we bringing that back at the next meeting? I know that was a discussion item, but I wasn't sure if we were ever going to bring that item back just to finish some of the other streets we had discussed. We talked about 13th Street. We talked about Bishop Masters Street.
Who street?
Bishop Masters and 13th Street.
When you got a street?
We talked about it. We didn't give him one yet, but we're working on it.
All right, very good. Commissioner Guyton?
Nothing.
Meeting is adjourned.